one additional document in order to vote if the SAVE Act were to pass. But would a real ID count? I've got that story coming up.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
TSA workers start to receive a paycheck today. What about the civilian Coast Guard members? I'm Maria Aquina. I'll explain.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Lots of sunshine today, a warm breeze, a high 88.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The latest on the Cardinals at 6:15. One of the best basketball games you'll ever see was played yesterday. Josh Schertz is staying at SLU, and Chris Pronger joins us at 6:22.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump says Iran has agreed to allow 20 more oil cargo ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, beginning today.
We are negotiating with them directly and indirectly. We have emissaries, but we also are dealing directly.
Speaking to reporters on Air Force One, he also said the U.S. may seize a key oil terminal in the Persian Gulf. The BBC's Lise Doucette.
Possibly they could make a landing on Karg Island, but they would be under fire as they go in. Then they would be in range of Iranian artillery, of Iranian fast boats. And then what? They're sitting ducks.
More than 2,000 U.S. Marines arrived in the region over the weekend. Relief has arrived for Cuba.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Russia's transport ministry says a Russian tanker has just docked at a port in Cuba, carrying enough oil, experts say, to keep the lights on for 9 or 10 days. This just hours after President Trump said he had no problem with countries sending humanitarian supplies to the communist-run island. That marked an apparent loosening of the U.S. blockade that's led to crippling island-wide blackouts. The World Health Organization has warned hospitals are struggling to maintain emergency and intensive care services, and multiple doctors have told the New York Times patients are dying as a result.
Many TSA officers could start getting paid again today after President Trump gave the order when Congress deadlocked again and left for spring break. Correspondent Jason Allen at the airport in Houston.
As TSA workers wait for financial relief, travelers at major airports nationwide still braced for long security lines. How big of a nightmare did you prepare for?
I prepared for being here 5 hours ahead of time.
The Artemis II moon rocket is on the launch pad in Florida, set for blastoff Wednesday for the first human flight to the moon in more than 50 years. Lori Glaze heads the NASA program.
Our flight systems are ready. The ground systems are ready. Our launch and operations teams are ready. And our flight operations team in Houston are also ready.
The launch pad's the same one that was used in the historic Apollo missions in the 60s and 70s. This new mission includes the first woman and the first black man to pass over the moon. March Madness morphs into magic for a UConn freshman, Braylon Mullins.
I had the ball, and I know AK had just hit one, so I threw him at 4 seconds left, and man, he just threw the ball back to me. I knew I had to put one up. So, man, I'm just happy that was the one that went down.
After he stole the ball, Mullins hit a three-pointer with less than a second on the clock. Huskies beat Duke 73-72 to advance to the Final Four. UConn faces Illinois Saturday. Michigan takes on Arizona. This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount.
It is 6:03, and right now we've got mostly clear skies, 58 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We're going to warm up to 88 degrees today. The full forecast from Joe Lundberg on the way in about 8 minutes. The latest on the hostage situation in Shrewsbury happened at 2 o'clock yesterday morning in the 7500 block of Murdoch Avenue. St. Louis County Police say a 30-year-old man was holding at hostage at gunpoint when crisis negotiators arrived. Negotiators talked with the suspect for more than an hour. At around 5:30 a.m., the suspect was shot by a police officer. No other injuries were reported. The investigation is active and ongoing.
St. Louis County Police still investigating a homicide on the north side that resulted in the death of a man. Officers from the North County Precinct responding to a call of a shooting Sunday in the 11,800 block of Kings Fond Place. Officers found an adult male suffering from at least one gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. There are no suspects in custody.
While TSA workers could be paid as early as today, with President Trump signing an executive order, the fate of 8,000 civilian members of the United States Coast Guard is not clear.
Not clear because you infrequently have heard about the civilian Coast Guard members.
They run rescue operations offshore. And these are the employees who are still showing up to work without getting paid. Eventually, they might say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to find alternate employment.
That's Brooke Millard, a retired Coast Guard member and CEO of Coast Guard Mutual Assistance.
Can you blame them? I mean, the second government shutdown in less than 6 months that have affected our civilian employees.
Borders are Tom Homan.
This isn't a White House issue. This is the Democrats shutting down the Department of Homeland Security.
St. Louis has a large Coast Guard operation. With the president's executive order restoring paychecks to TSA workers, it's still not known if that will also apply to the civilian Coast Guard employees. If it does, there has been no talk about it. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
They could have paid them just the way they paid servicemen and women during the last shutdown, with the money that they grabbed during reconciliation.
Illinois Senator in combat, Iraq War veteran Tammy Duckworth says the no pay for TSA workers was not necessary.
Stop using our hardworking TSA agents as pawns in your political game and pay them.
But Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt accuses the Democrats of causing the delays.
You want to understand this, and I see it every day. This is their core operating principle right now. They believe in open borders. They don't think we should be deporting people. So if they can't get a bill passed that has amnesty for 15 million people, they want to basically kneecap ICE's ability to deport people. We're not going to let that happen.
Schmidt says while the TSA, Coast Guard, and Secret Service should be funded, so should ICE's deportation efforts.
Today's vote by the St. Charles County Council will determine whether or not local officers can be trained by ICE. The proposal comes after Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe recently authorized Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers to undergo similar federal training. As reported by KSDK, County Councilman Joe Brazel says if the measure is passed, ICE would only train 10 local officers. He says officers would not be bounty hunting illegal immigrants in the area. Instead, he says officers will be trained on how to lawfully pick up and process people who are here illegally.
County Democratic Central Committee Chair Don Crozier says he's afraid ICE involvement will break up local communities. The council's expected to take a final vote on that tonight.
Despite vocal opposition from residents, the Festus City Council could give preliminary approval to massive data center tonight.
Residents say there's been a lack of transparency. A citizens group called Wake Up Jeffco is investigating potential sunshine law violations. City officials maintain they've been transparent about the process. KMOX reported on last week's packed public hearing at the Festus High School. Wake Up Jeffco's Lori Merriman says the proposed data center would be her neighbor. She's worried the framework the council could approve will leave too many important details out.
Once the contract gets signed, it could be a lawsuit against Festus, the city, if it doesn't go through. So there should be no contract signed until the people are involved, and they have never involved the people.
CRG's proposal includes a $5 million payment for a new fire station, as well as $40 million in community benefit payments over a decade. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
And KMOX News has reached out to developer Chris McKee at CRG to discuss the data center proposal. We have not yet had a response.
From the KMOX business desk, 3 men suspected of stealing money from senior citizens in a gold bar scheme have been indicted in federal court in St. Louis for their part in a scam that originated in India. The scam netted about $8 million from elderly people who were contacted about their financial accounts being compromised. They were told to liquidate their savings and retirement funds, buy gold bars and coins, and give it to government couriers. The 3 men charged were the couriers. They've all pleaded not guilty.
Traffic and weather next at 6:08.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Cardinals Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, it's that time of year again, man. It's starting to warm up. And you know the sun's getting a little brighter. I can hear the crack of the bat.
Yeah, the true pros are doing just a little bit of stretching here and there, getting rid of those winter kinks, getting ready for those days that really count, Eddie. I'm talking about the ones you'll always remember at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Boy, now you got that right. It is all they can do to get ready for the lineup of the delicious eats, man. It's a half-pound Fat Eddie burger. Man, it's a hot chick on a stick that big elwood on a stick, and you know the succulent peel and eat shrimp are sitting over there on deck.
You do know I have to stretch out a little bit before I start hitting that dance floor, listening to that live music 7 days a week on that huge outdoor patio.
Well, it's like any other training, man. You got to warm up to get that party face on. It's really difficult out there to have that much fun on that warm, toasty patio. You know, like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, it's Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
I was ordering food from our usual place for the big meeting. My VP said, "Please, God, no."
For workplaces suffering with corporate catering deficiency, every day's a struggle.
The food was always meh and over budget. Before Easy Cater, I thought that was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat CCD with a huge variety of restaurants, help meet dietary needs, and stay on budget. Use daily. One platform lets you save time and thrive. Ask your web browser about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is now 6:10 and it's time for traffic and weather. So let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it looks a lot better. In fact, it's back to normal now, Debbie. Westbound 270 coming off the bridges of Madison County out of the Madison County area westbound. We had a tractor trailer crash overnight. They cleared it up just before the top of the hour. Things were just slowing out. They look like they're wide open to me coming out of Madison County on westbound 270. So no issue there now, thankfully, before we even get into the rush hour that is behind us. The rest of these interstates right now look great. I see a little bit of a slowdown northbound 55 at 141 in Arnold. It still looks okay up north of Bayless. On the Illinois side, 64 at Fairview Heights, 270 at Ladue through the construction zones. Everything is moving along pretty well. We do have an incident. It could be a crash. All I know is involving, it sounded like a postal truck, and there's a lot of mail scattered around the roadway. So they have restrictions in place. This is on Highway 94 at Interstate 70 in St. Charles City. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg with the latest.
Plenty of sunshine today, a breezy, very warm afternoon, our high 88. That would break the record of 86 from 1986, and partly cloudy, breezy and warm tonight, those 66. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, another breezy summer-like day with a high of 88. The record 87 was set in 1981. Wednesday, cloudy and cooler with some showers and a thunderstorm, the high 65. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it's 58 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:12. Gas prices around St. Louis held steady over the past week, according to Gas Buddy. Gas prices in St. Louis City averaged $3.78 per gallon today. That's the exact same last Monday. The national average grows a little over 2 cents in the past week. It's $3.95.
Patrick DeHaan is head of petroleum analysis at Gas Buddy. He says if oil does not begin to flow through the Strait of Hormuz again soon, we could see the national average price for gasoline hit and potentially spill over $4 per gallon. DeHaan says the average prices for diesel could get close to $6 per gallon.
A Kansas City Uber ride turned into a horrifying trip for Tara Moore. When her driver realized they were being followed, gunfire erupted, leaving Moore seriously injured. Speaking from her hospital bed.
I know the area a little bit, so I was trying to help her, like, we were trying to ditch him, like, get away. That's when I knew that our life was in danger. Like, no, these people want to harm us or something.
Moore was shot 5 times in the neck, chest, arm, and leg and remains hospitalized.
The SAVE Act is back in the spotlight with President Donald Trump pressuring Senate Republicans to pass the bill. What will married women who change their names need to vote?
Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins, a supporter of the bill, says there is one additional document married women who have changed their name would need to bring.
If you're married and change your name, you just need to bring a marriage certificate. I mean, you have to do that for whether you
you get married and file a joint checking account with your spouse.
The SAVE Act would require proof of citizenship to vote, but there is confusion over whether a real ID would be sufficient. Even Secretary Hoskins concedes a real ID does not necessarily show citizenship.
Just because that you have a real ID does not necessarily mean that you are a citizen.
Hoskins says it depends on what you use to obtain that real ID. So I asked if there was a way you could tell just by looking at it.
So there could be an identifiable mark on new real IDs that are issued, maybe a star, a gold star, something like that.
But those would be new IDs in the future, not current ones. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is accusing the manufacturers of mifepristone used for chemical abortions of hiding dangerous side effects. He says the pill sends 11% of users to the hospital. And he revealed an investigation in a letter this week to the two largest companies that make the drug, Danco Labs and Gen Bio Pro.
Mifepristone is an abortion pill. Hawley compared the companies to big tobacco, saying they're buying research to protect billions in profits. He's now demanding the companies hand over all internal documents. Meanwhile, his bill to bar the use of mifepristone and provide ways for women to seek damages is gaining traction in Washington among Republican senators.
It is 6:15.
Let's get into the Redbird Report, which is sponsored by Restoration One. And there are a lot of good things that happened over the weekend. The home run for J.J. Weatherhold on opening day and the comeback that the Cardinals put together to win that game 9-7. The walk-off hit by J.J. on Saturday to beat the Rays, and everybody raving about Weatherhold. And great hitting really all weekend from Jordan Walker. He looked very comfortable at the plate. He blasted a home run yesterday. He went 3 for 4. He scored 3 runs. He drove in 3 with that 3-run blast. But there was something that went sideways yesterday, surprisingly, starting pitching. Dustin May, the prized acquisition of the offseason, a 1-year, $12.5 million deal, got off to a rough start. He gave up 6 runs yesterday in an 11-7 loss to the Rays. Let's listen in to May and try to identify what happened.
There was a lot of bad luck and a lot of bad execution tied together, so just not a good mix of stuff.
Ollie said it was pretty much like they were on the fastball. It seemed like fairly often. That kind of make it hard to get in the zone if they're going to be on that pitch as often as they were.
I mean, it was more of, I think it was more location of the fastball. I think if I would have located it better, it would have produced better results, but I just missed too much hard of the plate.
Dustin, how much was a killer walking the 9 spot there with 2 outs, and then you got to face John D again?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't my brightest moment. Definitely didn't want to do that in the moment, and shouldn't even be an option.
What do you take out of trying to find a better location on it, I guess? Like, is that a mechanical thing for you? I don't know.
It's just an execution thing. Just not being middle. I mean, just playing more side of the plate.
What do you take mentally to push yourself forward? There's a lot of baseball left.
I mean, I've been in worse spots in my career. So, I mean, to be able to go out and come out of it healthy, I mean, that's a positive thing. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot worse places I could be.
After 2 excellent starts by the Cardinals, Matthew Liberatore, 5 strong innings, giving up 1 run, and then 6 hitless innings for Michael McGreevy on Saturday. Dustin May takes the L yesterday as the Rays got him 11-7. Again, a bright spot, 3-run homer for Jordan Walker, first home run of the season for Nolan Gorman, but the Cardinals dropped their first game. They win the series 2 out of 3, and they host the Mets tonight. It's a 6:45 start on KMOX, 5:50 pregame. Kyle Leahy makes the start. He's the number 4 starter in this Redbird rotation. How about the St. Louis Battlehawks and the St. Louis Blues both winning over the weekend, not to mention Illinois reaching the Final Four? Who will Illinois face? Well, how about this from the University of Connecticut? A stunning result that you heard on CBS News. Here's the call on Westwood One.
72-70, Duke by 2. Saki the inbound now, full court pressure from Sar, gets it into Cam Boozer. Boozer back to Sar, now ahead to Boozer, and UConn got a steal. Caravan for Mullins, long 3, he got it! Oh, he got it! He hit it!
Scott Graham with the call on Westwood. 1.3 on the clock. The ball goes down for Braylon Mullins from nearly half court. And UConn beats Duke 73-72. Michigan demolished Tennessee 95-64. So the Final Four is set in Indianapolis. It'll be UConn and Illinois, Michigan against Arizona. Josh Schertz, is staying at St. Louis University. He came out with a statement yesterday after withdrawing his name from consideration with NC State. He said, among things, the following in a statement: one thing I've really tried to do is connect the program to our fan base, and the media here in St. Louis has been a great conduit to that connection. To help facilitate that, I have been accessible and transparent with the media, as I know they have a job to do and understand their integral role in disseminating information to our fans. That said, there was a tweet posted yesterday that was not, in my opinion, malicious, but unintentionally misleading. He wanted to be clear and said, I never said I was waiting on anyone to come back with a significantly better offer than SLU. I don't think like that. And I've never chased money in my career. I have always chased success. The fact is, I have turned down significantly more money this spring to remain at SLU. So while that may have looked like a paraphrased statement from me, I can assure you it was not. Schertz is staying at St. Louis University, and the Billikens move forward. I'm Tom Ackerman. Chris Pronger coming up in 3 minutes on KMOX.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are talking about colorectal cancer, and joining us is Dr. Jean Wang, a WashU Medicine gastroenterologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Wang, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We want to talk about the importance of screening. At what age, Dr. Wang, should people consider getting a screening for colorectal cancer?
So the current national guidelines recommend that people start screening at 45 years old. And this is a new change that just happened in the last few years, because it used to be 50 years that we would start. But the reason why the new guidelines now recommend starting at age 45 is that we're seeing younger and younger patients get diagnosed with colorectal cancer. So we want to start screening people earlier, and that way we can prevent them from getting this terrible disease.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
622, let's get you caught up here on traffic and weather. Roger Brands and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, just had a call out for EMS, Debbie, for a crash in Jefferson County. This traffic reports service of Artistic Decks. They said the ramp from McNutt to southbound 55, so it sounds like it's on the ramp. I'm looking at 55 through McNutt. Obviously, I'm looking at northbound traffic, and I don't see delays in either direction here. So hopefully that is the case. It's just restrictions on the ramp there. I do see some slow traffic, though, northbound 55 coming up from Richardson Road to 141, also from Bayless up through Weber. It's getting a little busier. North 270, though, from 55 headed up through Gravois, 44 up around Manchester and Ladue. Everything looks fine. 70 out west coming in from Wentzville. You're good to go there. On the Illinois side, we still look good on 64 through 159 and clear across the bridges downtown as well. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Ready to hit a home run with your backyard? Call Artistic Decks. We're celebrating 25 years of A-plus service with massive rollback pricing. Get a professional custom-built deck for less. Hit it out of the park with Artistic Decks. Call 314-280-0821 today.
High of 88 degrees today, breezy and warm, low 66 tonight, and tomorrow the same, breezy, very warm, times of sun and clouds, a high of 88. It's 58 right now. And it's 6:23. Chris Pronger, Hockey Hall of Famer. You've seen him for years. Well, he has a new book that will be out in mid-April. It's called Earned, The True Cost of Greatness. I had a chance to visit with him about it. Often about being proud of the scars, being proud of the journey. And I would imagine this book is going to be really a deep dive into a lot of the decisions and moments you've had to make in your career.
Definitely. A lot of forks in the road, a lot of moments where I needed to bet on myself. As you talk about scars, the good, bad, and the ugly, I discussed in the book, and just kind of my path and journey to the NHL through minor hockey and junior, and then obviously people may or may not remember my time in Hartford and how difficult it was, the weight of expectations, the pressure, being booed on home ice, and the struggles that I had, and then obviously my first year here in St. Louis, where I struggled mightily and under the weight of the expectations of the trade contract, pressure from the fans, pressure from myself, pressure from teammates, coaches, management, all the rest of it. And struggled mightily in that third year in the league, my first year in St. Louis, and ultimately, found my way, and through a lot of hard work, through setting standards and really taking ownership of my career and getting rid of the victimhood mentality that I had up to that point, and trying to blame others for my lot in life and blame others for the mistakes that I was making, and ultimately taking ownership of my career and challenging myself and really trying to figure out how good do you really want to be? What are you willing to sacrifice? How dedicated you want to be? How hard do you want to work? And then going out and taking action.
Because I always wondered about that. And we've had conversations about this, that, you came to St. Louis, like you said, you got booed because you were part of this trade, and Brendan Shanahan's now playing elsewhere. Then you have such a great run here, but then it gets to a point where you're out of here and you end up winning a cup elsewhere. So that's twice, I think, that there was sort of a sour experience in St. Louis, as good as it was here. And you still are here. Like, you're here, you live here, you love us, you're part of the culture, you're on the broadcast team, you're adored inside the building. And what a wide range of emotions you've had to go through.
Yeah, definitely a roller coaster of emotions. And my time here didn't get off to a great start, but I think my play and my willingness to ingratiate myself in the community, as we know, St. Louis got a great fan base. And the fans take hold of their players, and certainly my time is no different. As I said, getting booed on home ice is never a comfortable feeling, but it also puts your feet to the fire and tests your mettle and builds the grit and character that you're going to need to find the ultimate success in this sport, especially in hockey. And so, I was very thankful for how hard the fans were on me, how they challenged me, and coming out the other side, I was prepared and ready for anything that was going to come my way after going through that experience.
I think it's Hockey Hall of Famer Chris Pronger, our visit on Sports on a Sunday Morning. His book, Earned: The True Cost of Greatness, comes out on April 14th. We will have much more with Prongs. You can listen to the entire interview if you'd like at KMOX.com. Blues play tonight at San Jose. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot. This thing is not over. They have gotten hot, and they are knocking on the door. 6:27 time check, sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Gamma Tree Experts for 70 years plus now has helped residents in St. Louis with their trees. Maintaining healthy, beautiful trees protects your property and enhances your home's value. Gamma Tree Experts provides comprehensive tree services for homeowners all throughout the St. Louis area, and they've been offering these services since 1954. You can rest assured that your home is in the hands of experts, whether you need routine trimming or emergency storm response. That company is Gamma Tree Experts. Tree pruning, trimming, tree removal, tree and shrub fertilization. They will diagnose the issues and they will take care of it. And I mentioned storm damage. As well as I do, we are in the eye of thunderstorms many times, and that will really hurt trees. They can clean all of that up for you and identify any trees that could be susceptible to that at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Spring into green with Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. For a limited time, we have 0% financing for 84 months or up to $3,000 cash off on John Deere 1, 2, and 3E Series compact tractors. You choose the offer that fits your plan and we'll deliver it for free. Visit snpartners.com or one of our Missouri or Illinois John Deere locations. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 4/30/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It is 6:30 and we've got mostly clear skies, 59 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's check the roads. Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, I mentioned in the last report about a crash southbound 55. They said it was the ramp to McNutt, but it is southbound 55 before you get to McNutt. A car hit the concrete retaining wall. This is a work zone where the lanes are actually split on the southbound side there. So the right lane's blocked by the crash, but now emergency crews just pulled up in the left lane. So effectively, temporarily shutting down southbound 55 before McNutt because of this crash. So we've got a jam southbound 55 back south of Highway Z near the Joachim Creek, and northbound's backed up briefly coming through McNutt looking at it, but there are no northbound lane restrictions. Northbound 55 is slow, though. Richardson up to about the Merrimack River Bridge. It's bogged down again from the Union Road overpass up to Weber, and Holly Hills, Virginia area is a little heavy as well. North 270 starting to see some volume approaching Manchester and 64. Southbound 61 crossing over onto 64, just a little slow going over the overpass. Look for restrictions. Eastbound 70 on the exit to 94. That's where we had a mail truck that lost a bunch of mail. They were dealing with a cleanup there. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be mostly sunny, breezy today with a high of 88, which would break the record set back in 1986. 66 overnight, and then tomorrow another possible record breaker. Again, 88 degrees. That would set break a record set in 1981. Then Wednesday, 65. So again, our roller coaster temperatures because we'll have some thunderstorms moving in. It's 59 out there right now.
It's 6:32. Today's vote by the St. Charles County Council will determine whether or not local officers can be trained by ICE. The proposal comes after Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe recently authorized Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers to undergo similar federal training. As reported by KSDK, County Councilman Joe Brazel says if the measure is passed, ICE would only train 10 local officers. He said officers would not be bounty hunting illegal immigrants in the area. Instead, he says officers will be trained on how to lawfully pick up and process people who are here illegally.
County Democratic Central Committee member Don Crozier says he's afraid ICE involvement will break up local communities. The council's expected to take a final vote on the proposal tonight.
Before the council meets tonight, a group is holding a news conference to voice opposition to the ICE bill. The group includes residents, business owners, clergy, immigrant advocacy groups, and the ACLU. Participants say more than 1,000 letters in opposition have been sent to the council. They plan to detail what they call the devastating economic and social costs and how it won't increase public safety.
Festus residents have hired an attorney to help them fight a proposed data center. Meanwhile, the Festus City Council could give preliminary approval to the project as soon as tonight.
The power lines are 1,500 feet in front of my house, and the data center will be 1,600 feet to the left of my house. So that's why I got involved.
Lori Merriman is the driving force behind Wake Up Jeffco, a group formed to fight the proposed data center. Her main concerns: property values, health impacts, use of resources, and costs to the community. She contends there's been no meaningful dialogue between residents and city officials.
I've spoken at every council meeting since the beginning of this, and they just sit and stare at you, but they don't speak back.
The group was looking into potential violations of sunshine laws. Developer CRG has promised Festus tens of millions of dollars. So far, residents have raised $20,000 for legal fees, but say it will take much more to fight the proposal. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
KMOX has reached out to developer Chris McKee at CRG to discuss the data center proposal. We have not heard back. We did speak with the mayor of Festus last week. You can hear him on that topic at the podcast page at KMOX.com.
It's 6:34, your Money Minute next. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other.
Yeah.
They're just a huge problem in your life. And then you win the giant jackpot. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
It is now 6:36. Let's get you caught up on your money report from Bloomberg. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Tens of thousands of TSA officers who have been working without pay for 44 days are supposed to start receiving checks today after President Trump signed an executive order to pay them on Friday. It's unclear whether the move will translate into shorter wait times for passengers at airport security lines. NASA is heading back to the moon with its Artemis program, which will send a crew of 4 around the moon as a precursor for a landing this decade. The $100 billion program aims to gather scientific data about the moon and its resources and eventually build a base there, with a long-term goal of using the moon as a stepping stone for further exploration. Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling, is still soaring at the box office with a second big weekend, falling just 32% for a $55 million domestic haul. The Amazon MGM film has brought in more than $300 million worldwide. Stock futures are rising this morning, with the Dow up over 0.4%, with the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq gaining close to 0.5%. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you that we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. Is what I would put in my home, is what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
of digital marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Debuting this Tuesday, it's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
That's part of the Gas House Gang, which has gained popularity ever since Ollie joined that show a year plus ago. 640 Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it looks like they're doing a little better, Tom, on 55 now. It looks like, I think the right lane is getting by. They had all lanes shut down because of a crash southbound 55 before making up, but it looks like one lane's coming through now. There's a jam back to the Joachim Creek right near Highway Z, so be prepared. Northbound 55 is backed up south of McNutt, obviously on the way by looking at it, but there's no northbound lane restrictions on the way through. Northbound 55, after you get through that area, north of Richardson up to the Merrimack River is kind of slow. You've got heavy traffic again. From Bayless up to Weber, from Loughborough to Virginia, there's a couple of pockets there. North 270 a little slow. North of Gravois with the merge on traffic, and then north of Big Bend up to Manchester is just kind of off the pace, headed up the hill. More volume southbound 61, midway down from P to Wentzville Parkway onto 64 through Prospect, and then it's opening up eastbound Highway 70. You just have a brief delay right through Highway A, and then it opens up. So there's a brief back up there. It looks good east of Lake St. Louis Boulevard. And on the Illinois side, we're okay on 64 through 159. 64 is just a little slow, approaching Route 3 to the Poplar right now. Next update at 650 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
And you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
It is now 6:41, and we've been saying this a lot lately when we do the weather. Well, this could tie or break a record. So Joe Lundberg, our AccuWeather meteorologist, has the details on that.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a broken record, if you will, Debbie. Lots of sunshine in the forecast today, and here we go again, 88 if we get there. That would be a new record, the old one being 86 set of 1986. Partly cloudy skies tonight, stays on the mid-60s. Partly sunny tomorrow, a breezy, very warm day with a high of 88, the record being 87 from 1981. Now, front will slide into the area tomorrow night and then stall right across the area. That means Wednesday will be cloudy and cooler with some showers and a thunderstorm moving through the high 65, but that front should retreat back to the north on Thursday. Even though there'll be periods of rain and a thunderstorm, it should be warmer with a high in the low to mid 70s. And Friday, mostly cloudy. It'll become breezy and warm with a chance for a thunderstorm, the high 81. It does cool off for the rest of Easter weekend. Right now, it's 64 at St. Peter's and in Florissant. It's partly cloudy and 62 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It's 6:43, sports in 2 minutes. President Trump is sounding a hopeful tone, describing negotiations with Iran as going extremely well. Speaking to reporters on Air Force One, CBS reports Trump thinks the U.S. will be making a deal with Iran. He also says Iran will allow 20 oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz starting today. This comes as Trump is threatening to seize Iran's oil hub ahead of potential talks in Pakistan.
A contract dispute trial between a Springfield, Missouri development group against Mercy Health won't get underway this morning in Clayton because Mercy settled, but it brought to light more details involving the FBI, blackmail, and rape allegations. Pitt Development Group says former Mercy executive Don Sorensen was extorting them because he was being blackmailed by architect Steve Warlick, who is being investigated by the FBI for rape allegations.
According to the Post-Dispatch, Pitt wanted to depose the woman to show the connection, but Mercy then reached a settlement with her, which included a non-disclosure agreement. Recent federal drug charges against Warlick and Sorensen are tied to investigations into the two, including accusations Sorensen awarded Mercy construction work in exchange for gifts.
The president of the Central Illinois District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod has been arrested on child pornography charges. 54-year-old Michael William Moore was charged in St. Louis on Wednesday. He's being held in jail until facing trial. The charges come after investigators found Moore possessed videos of 3 juveniles using the bathroom in his home. They also found hidden cameras disguised as a wall clock and a Bluetooth speaker.
One of the juveniles told police he found a disguised camera in a hotel restroom. The victim says this happened the morning after Moore allegedly stood over the juvenile committing an indecent act while the victim was sleeping. FBI in St. Louis believe there may be more victims and are asking them to contact the FBI.
It is 6:45.
Who's hot, who's not? Sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. Cardinals lost 11-7 yesterday to the Rays. Dustin May gave up 6 runs early, and the bullpen held for a while, but it ultimately could not hold enough. The offense, 7 runs should be enough to win ball games, and 3 of the runs came from this guy who is hot. Did you think he would be after struggling through spring training? Jordan Walker.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch to Walker is hit in the air to deep left center field. That's back to the wall, and it's gone! Big fly, Jordan Walker! And the Cardinals do indeed strike with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning, and it's now 6-4. Tampa Bay.
Jordan Walker is hitting .400 through 3 games. He's 3 for 4 yesterday with 3 runs scored and 3 RBIs.
Yeah, I mean, just it's nice, the effort that I put in, with Casey and Brownie and the effort I put in the offseason to show up today. And just kind of want to take it to the rest of the season.
Remember you mentioned just kind of looking for that timing for things to click.
Yeah.
Where do you kind of feel like you're at the plate in those aspects?
Yeah, felt pretty good today. There's some pitches, I was off timing with, but, getting the ball in my spot and be able to hit it is what I was looking forward to. So being able to do that, it's a green light for right now on, where I'm at. But I kind of just want to take it more games. It was pretty fun.
It has been a good run so far for Jordan Walker, seeing the ball very well. That 4-pitch walk that set the table for the Victor Scott bunt and the J.J. Weatherhold walk-off hit on Saturday was another part of the run of success Walker has had. He is seeing the ball very well at the plate right now. Cardinals and Mets tonight, 6:45 start, 5:50 pregame. It'll be Kyle Leahy starting against New York as the Cardinals win their first series of the season. Now to college basketball, and one of the best games and best finishes you will ever see. This is the call on CBS. Let me set it up for you. Duke is leading by 3 and a free throw missed by UConn. They make the second to cut the lead to 2, but again, it's Duke's ball with 10 seconds to go. 72-70. All they have to do, inbound the ball, keep it away from UConn, get fouled, hit 2 free throws, seal it. That did not happen. Ian Eagle with the call on CBS.
Seconds to go. Got to cut and run through the ball. They'll do better than this guy. Get it into Boozer. Back for Sarr. Ahead. Boozer. That ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds. Mullins tosses it out. It's good. We're point 3. UConn goes in front.
Braylon Mullins hits the 3. The Indiana kid, the freshman, bombs one from the outside. The only 3 he made all night. And it was from almost half court, and UConn beats Duke 73-72. The number 1 overall seed goes down, and UConn will face Illinois in the Final Four. The other side, it'll be Michigan, who smoked Tennessee by 31 points. They will play Arizona. Josh Schertz withdraws his name from consideration at NC State. We'll hear more about that coming up at 7:15. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Blues play tonight at San Jose at 9 o'clock. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot. This is the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Experience the power and passion of Mahler's Fifth Symphony with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Music director Stefan Denev leads this monumental work, paired with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra's first performances of Carlos Simon's Double Concerto Suite, featuring Grammy-winning violinist Hilary Hahn and cellist Seth Parker Woods. April 10th, 11th, and 12th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com. Really happy to be associated with St. Louis Composting, who took care once again of our home by delivering mulch that we've had spread. The landscaping looks great. It is the perfect time for a full landscape cleanup. Add compost to your garden beds to prep for planting season. Not sure how much you need? Well, use the material calendar and calculator at stlcompost.com. You can schedule and you can use the calculator to find out how many cubic yards you need, exactly how much soil or mulch your project requires. Refresh your entire landscape with a fresh layer of mulch. This time of year, it's going to look great, and it's great for your flower beds and around your trees. It's the fastest way to make your yard pop with a beautiful, well-kept look. St. Louis Composting can do that for you. 9 retail locations all over the St. Louis area. There's one right near you, or you can have them deliver it, which is what we did, stlcompost.com. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Calling all runners. Register now for the Cardinals 5K on Saturday, April 18th. And you can take a victory lap on the field at Busch Stadium. Don't miss this chance to bring the whole family for a fun St. Louis 5K race that brings fans together to support kids in the community. The Cardinals 5K, Saturday, April 18th. Register now at cardinals.com/5K. And for more information, just head to kmox.com/events.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:51. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, they're still working the crash on southbound 55 north of McNutt. It looks like the left lane is the one that's blocked there. So you have backed up traffic both ways. Northbound Gawkers are jammed about midway back to Highway A. Southbound traffic is jammed back to about Highway Z. That southbound side is the part that has the restrictions, obviously. So just be prepared if you're heading into the area there. That is the reason why you're seeing the delays. This traffic report's service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. It's a little slow through 141. After that, it really doesn't look bad. A little busy around Loughborough. No big deal. North 270, again, just a brief slowdown north of Gravois. A little busy around Doherty Ferry up toward Manchester. Southbound 61, you've got slow traffic south of Highway P down to the 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It opens up as you get midway between Prospect and there. And downtown, more volume. Westbound 64, more of a backup actually west of 3rd Street onto the bridge. Next update is 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Going to be like a warm summer day today at the ballpark. A high of 88 today. It'll break the record of 86 if we get there, set in 1986. Tonight, partly cloudy, breezy, and warm, low 66. Tomorrow, again, 88 degrees with times of sun and clouds. Currently, it's 59 in downtown St. Louis.
Time to check in with our CBS News business analyst, Jill Schlesinger. And I think in these divisive times, Jill, there's one thing we can all agree on.
Yes.
It's never been more expensive to go to college.
I think that colleges should stop doing electronic notifications and instead send out in the mail your big package with a brown paper bag so you can breathe very deeply into that bag when
No
you see what
kidding.
the prices are. Just if you guys have not gone through this in a while, the numbers are astounding. So what I'm about to tell you, these numbers, this is the sticker price. This is not what everybody pays. In-state, 4-year school, it's about 30 grand. If you're out of state going to a public college in another state, which I think is just crazy sometimes because these numbers are amazing, 51,000. You want to go to a public 4-year school? A private 4-year school, 65,000. That's average. So these numbers are huge. Don't freak out too much because many people do not pay these actual prices. They pay something less because they either get financial aid, they might get a grant, free money, they might take loans out, they might do a lot of different things. So this is the sticker price, gang, not the actual price that most families pay.
So what about saving for college? What's the best way to do that?
I still love a 529 plan. I think it is the gold standard because when you put money into the plan, I know you don't get a deduction or anything, but you put the money in, it grows without any taxes. When you take the money out for school, there's no tax due. This is tax-free money. And the extra feature that they added a few years back is that any unused portion of a 529 plan, up to $35,000, can be rolled over for the beneficiary's own Roth IRA. So I kind of dig it. I still think these are great plans.
Jill, before we run out of time, what should we be looking at this week on our roller coaster of financial news?
Well, Friday is going to be a wild day because there's an employment report, but markets are closed for Good Friday. So it's going to be a report that goes out with no reaction. We're expecting around 55,000 jobs. The unemployment rate stays at, let's say 4.4 to 4.5%. It's been kind of I don't know. This is the definition of meh. Like we basically have not had widespread layoffs, but we haven't had a ton of job creation either. We've been kind of flat over the last few months. A lot of weird one-off things, whether it's weather or some strikes that have been settled. But the long story short is that companies are just not hiring with gusto right now. And just ask any recent grad about that, and they'll tell you their story. So be nice to your young grads. It's tough to get a job out there, and please don't force them to buy a house. It's very hard to do that.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. You can read her at jillonmoney.com. Have a great week.
Take care.
It's 6:55.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
Warren Beatty's career has spanned over 6 decades. He is 89 today. Bonnie and Clyde, Dick Tracy, you name it. You know, one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Some believe he's the greatest to ever play the instrument. Eric Clapton is 81 today. Saw him in concert. That one stays with me, no doubt about it. Happy birthday to him. Happy birthday, Tracy Chapman. She is 62.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Birthday and anniversaries can be sent to totalam@KMOX.com. Happy birthday wishes going out this morning to Michelle Gray and Ann Schweitzer.
This is the best birthday ever.
Did you spend some time outside this weekend just kind of assessing things and seeing where you are and what you'd like to do with your outdoor space? Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck to make it a reality. They do great work like they've been doing for 58 years as a local family-owned company, 4th generation. They take pride in everything they do, and that is a true value because when you pay the money, it's going to be a quality project that lasts for years to come. And if you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. So whether you need a fence or a deck, a patio, a pergola, a sunroom, a screen room, a retaining wall, all of the above, They can do that for you. They are a Better Business Bureau Torch Award. They have won so many awards and, of course, thousands of happy customers over the years. So whether you stop in to see them in the Chesterfield Valley or they'll come to see you, they do free in-home estimates and free project design. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign, you have the very best. ChesterfieldFence.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Hey, let's go to Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have our issue on 55, Tom. If you're traveling up 55 northbound, you have delays northbound and southbound due to that crash. There was southbound north of McNutt. The jam on northbound 55 is obviously the bigger one. It's backed up a little bit more than midway back to Highway A. Southbound's not quite as bad in the area, but again, still, you've got the restrictions. The left lane is blocked. The right lane's open southbound there. North 55 is just a little busy at Loughborough. Southbound 61, Highway P down to 64. There's still some slow traffic there. And we have some heavy traffic on westbound 64, a couple of pockets from 3rd Street to the bridge. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin at the airports where long lines could get better soon. TSA officers will begin receiving back pay as early as today, after President Trump stepped in when lawmakers on Capitol Hill couldn't reach a deal before they disbanded for spring break. CBS's Jason Allen is at the airport in Houston.
President Trump said he was signing an executive order directing new DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullen to pay TSA. But for many officers, the damage has been done. Tanya Fowler is one of more than 500 who quit during the shutdown.
For me, I will never go back to the agency or maybe ever work for the federal government again.
5 weeks into war, and President Trump has just made new threats on social media to obliterate Iran's Karg Island and target the nation's civilian infrastructure, including desalination plants, if Tehran doesn't agree to a ceasefire and immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Correspondent Weijia Jiang.
The White House did not deny a Washington Post report that the Department of Defense is preparing for weeks of ground operations, saying it's the job of the Pentagon to make preparations. It does not mean the president has made a decision.
Notice higher coffee prices? CBS's Vicki Barker has an explanation from the foreign desk.
The symphony of steam and grinding beans performed millions of times a day in the nation's coffee shops, but customers may be in for some severe sticker shock. Wholesale prices, already put under pressure by tariffs, crop failures, and rising rent and labor costs, are being further hammered by the Iran war. Now, little or none of the coffee that passes through the Strait of Hormuz is actually headed to the USA, but fears of wider disruption have led speculators to pile into the market, sending the price of beans surging.
Documents show two similar close calls at Reagan National just before the deadly collision between an Army helicopter and a passenger plane last year. Emily Hanoka, who was working in the control tower, tells CBS's 60 Minutes.
You had frontline controllers ringing that bell for years and years saying, this is not safe. This cannot continue. please change this.
President Trump is defending the new ballroom he's building at the White House. He explained to reporters on Air Force One.
We have all bulletproof glass. We have drone-proof roofs, ceilings. Everything's drone-proof and bulletproof. And unfortunately, we're living in an age where that's a good thing.
Trump ordered the entire East Wing demolished to make way for the new space. The $400 million reno is being paid for with private donations. Historians and architects have blasted the plan. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning. This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. Heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
At 7:04, 59 degrees with a clear sky in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. No new updates following the officer-involved shooting in Shrewsbury Sunday. Police say it started around 2 a.m. in the 7500 block of Murdoch after a 30-year-old man was allegedly holding a hostage at gunpoint. Negotiators talked with the suspect for more than an hour. Around 5:30 this morning, that suspect was shot by an officer. No other injuries reported, and the investigation is active and ongoing.
High school students in St. Louis are holding a march this morning against youth violence. The march is being led by Movement Not Moment, a youth-led anti-violence initiative. The group was started after a shooting in 2021 took the life of a 19-year-old Isis Marr, who was a graduate of Cardinal Ritter. The group says the aim is to inspire action and unity. The march will begin at 9 a.m. at the Wool Recreation Center and end at Cardinal Ritter Prep High School.
Today's vote by the St. Charles County Council will determine whether or not local officers can be trained by ICE. That proposal comes after Missouri Governor Kehoe authorized Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers to undergo similar federal training. And County Councilman Joe Brazel says if the measure is passed, ICE would only train 10 local officers. They would not be bounty hunting illegal immigrants in the area, he says. Instead, officers will be trained on how to pick up and process people who are here illegally.
County Democratic Central Committee member Don Crozier says he's afraid ICE involvement will break up local communities. The council is expected to take a final vote on the proposal tonight.
And before that vote by the St. Charles County Council, there is a group holding a news conference to voice opposition to this ICE bill. That group includes residents, business owners, clergy, immigrant advocacy groups, and the ACLU. Participants say more than 1,000 letters in opposition have been sent to the council. They plan to detail what they call the devastating economic and social costs and how this won't increase public safety.
Festus residents have hired an attorney to help them fight a proposed data center. Meanwhile, Festus City Council could give preliminary approval to the project as soon as tonight.
The power lines are 1,500 feet in front of my house, and the data center will be 1,600 feet to the left of my house. So that's why I got involved.
Lori Merriman is the driving force behind Wake Up Jeffco, a group formed to fight the proposed data center. Her main concerns: property values, health impacts, use of resources, and costs to the community. She contends there's been no meaningful dialogue between residents and city officials.
I've spoken at every council meeting since the beginning of this, and they just sit and stare at you, but they don't speak back.
The group is looking into potential violations of sunshine laws. Developer CRG has promised Festus tens of millions of dollars. So far, residents have raised $20,000 for legal fees, but say it will take much more to fight the proposal. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
KMOX News has reached out to developer Chris McKee at CRG to discuss the data center proposal, but we have not had a response. We spoke with the Festus mayor last week, and you can find that audio at KMOX.com.
From the KMOX business desk, more security for downtown St. Louis could be in place as soon as May. That's what Bob O'Loughlin told attendees Friday at a historic Revitalization for Missouri luncheon. O'Loughlin's expected to be on the board of the new downtown St. Louis Entertainment District. That new district was made possible by passage of state legislation and a Board of Aldermen bill that passed but has yet to be signed by Mayor Spencer.
According to the Post-Dispatch, the district will be able to hire private security and would be empowered to guarantee ticket sales for the event. O'Loughlin is chairman and CEO of Lodging Hospitality Management and says a visible police presence is crucial to making downtown visitors feel like they're in the safest downtown in the United States.
The weather is once again going to be in record-breaking territory, so we'll get you all the details coming up next at 7:08.
Inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, this is not the time for, gee, I hope this works out. That's why Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, April 7th at the All Financial Group offices. You'll learn how to deal with rising costs, taxes, crazy markets, and the fear of running out of money. The date again is April the 7th. It's complimentary, but you must reserve a seat. 636-230-8824 or at yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fredbird and games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family-favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check in with Roger Brand of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we're still dealing with our crash down south on 55 southbound before McNutt. They still have the left lane closed. In fact, I think they're trying to repair the median wall that was damaged in the crash. So still only the right lane open. Traffic's jammed north of Highway Z down through the Joachim Creek on southbound 55. And northbound is backed up about midway back to Highway A. Again, no northbound lane blockage. They're just slowing to look at the flashing lights on the way by. Once you clear that, you're slow. Approaching 141 up to the Merrimack River. It's a little busy. Weber River to Pear, not that big a deal, really. Northbound, as you get on from 55 to 270, that ramp is backed up. After that, though, it's clear sailing all the way up through 64. Southbound 61, north of Wensfield Parkway, down onto 64 through Prospect, a little busy. It opens up before you get to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. After that, it's clear sailing headed downtown. Eastbound 70 looks great, just a little busy east of K toward T.R. Hughes. And on the Illinois side, we're good to go. 64 coming through Fairview Heights. It's just a little busy approaching the Poplar. Really is pretty almost thinned out from what we had 10 minutes ago. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, mostly sunny today. Breezy and very warm this afternoon, high 88. That would break the record of 86 set back in 1986. Partly cloudy, breezy and warm tonight, though 66. Times of sun and clouds tomorrow, a breezy, very warm day. The high again 88. The record 87 was set in 1981. Wednesday, cloudy and cool with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around, high 65. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Mostly sunny, 59 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis.
It's 7:12. Average gas prices in the St. Louis area stalled over the past week. According to Gas Buddy, gas prices in the city averaged $3.78 per gallon today. That's the exact same average the region saw last Monday. The national average rose a little over 2 cents in the last week, coming in at $3.95 today. The average price of diesel rose to $5.37 per gallon, hitting the highest national price since July 2022. A woman is recovering after a violent shooting during an Uber ride in Kansas City. Tara Moore says what started as a routine trip quickly turned into a terrifying chase when her driver realized they were being followed.
She said it. She was like, I think I'm getting followed.
Moore was shot 5 times in the neck, chest, arm, and leg. And while she remains hospitalized, she says she is grateful to be alive.
TSA workers at nationwide airports could be getting checks as early as today. President Trump signing an executive order to pay TSA agents with other funds, but it's not known exactly when those payments would go out.
As KMOX reported over the weekend, civilian members of the United States Coast Guard are not being paid, but there has not been much in the way of reporting on this.
There's so many civilian employees who feel that they've been forgotten by the U.S. government. There's about 8,000 civilian employees who support Coast Guard operations.
That's Brooke Millard. She's retired Coast Guard and is now the CEO of Coast Guard Mutual Assistance. Border Czar Tom Homan said ICE agents will remain in airports until TSA employees return to work. Homan made no mention, though, of the Coast Guard members.
We're going to continue an ICE presence there until the airports feel like they're 100% in a posture where they can do normal operations.
At least 500 TSA workers have quit their jobs while stickouts continue. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
They could have paid them just the way they paid servicemen and women during the last shutdown, with the money that they grabbed during reconciliation.
That's Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth saying the no pay for TSA workers was not necessary.
Stop using our hardworking TSA agents as pawns in your political game and pay them.
Missouri Senator Eric Schmitz accusing the Democrats of causing the delays.
You want to understand this, and I see it every day. This is their core operating principle right now. They believe in open borders. They don't think we should be deporting people. So if they can't get a bill passed that has amnesty for 15 million people, they want to basically kneecap ICE's ability to deport people. We're not going to let that happen.
Schmidt says while at TSA, Coast Guard and Secret Service should be funded, so should ICE's deportation efforts.
Well, this month's March Madness tournament stirred more than just basketball fever. The tournament generated almost $52 million in visitor spending last weekend, according to data from the Action Network. That number is equal to almost 13% of the city's economy, making last weekend's spending surge the tournament with the highest economic impact of any host city in the nation.
I hear a lot of stuff about downtown. Nobody goes downtown. Well, you had thousands of people at the Cardinals game over 3. You had thousands of people at the Blues games over 3. You had over 35,000 people at the Dome for the Battlehawks game on Saturday. You had, as you just mentioned, thousands of people at Enterprise Center for basketball. A lot of sports fans congregating downtown. We'll say that. Facts are facts. Yesterday at Busch Stadium, our cut of the game sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. I think you go back to what was the best highlight of the entire weekend. Was it the home run by J.J. Weatherholt in his first hit? Was it the Cardinals' comeback, Alec Burleson's missile in that 6th inning to score 8 runs and beat the Rays 9-7? I believe it was this. Bottom of the 10th. Cardinals bunt 2 runners over with Victor Scott II setting up J.J. Weatherholt.
The pitch to Weatherholt is grounded to the right side, base hit. The Cardinals tie it. Here comes Jordan Walker. The play at the plate, not in time. The Cardinals walk it off with rookie J.J. Weatherholt coming through in the bottom of the 10th inning. The Cardinals win it by a score of 6-5.
And
how about that ending?
How about it, Ricky? With that, the J.J. Weatherholt saga and story and legacy begins. He will have some downs. There is no doubt about that. But he will have plenty of ups. It is going to be an amazing run for one of the greats, J.J. Weatherholt, out of the minor leagues. Now he's a major leaguer. He is the first, according to OptaStats, the first player in Major League history with a home run in his first career game and walk-off hit in the second. You talk about raising expectations for a young man. My goodness. President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom.
He set the bar pretty high. I mean, you couldn't script it any better than this. It's just, it's a good feeling when he's at the plate. You feel good when the ball's hit to him. Love the way he's wired, the way his mind works, just his calmness. He carries himself like he's been here for a while, which you love to see. But like you said, there's a journey to this point, and I don't think we knew he was going to be Cardinal until really, that was my first year here. I was, really functionally a consultant, so I was not going to sit there and pound the table with a lot of opinions. But I know the outcome I was rooting for once it looked like the draft could fall a different way, and it was very great for our room and happy for us too when he fell to us. Just the draft fell that way that we were able to snag him at pick 7. And from day one, this guy has just. It's the same thing I said on the field the other day when they asked about him being on the club, asked about him hitting leadoff. Like, he has never given us any reason to think that that's not where he belongs. Right?
It's really amazing what we've seen so far from J.J. Weatherhold. Cardinals and Mets today, 6:45, 5:50 for the pregame. Cardinals win 2 out of 3 against the Rays. They lost yesterday by a final of 11-7. Josh Schertz is staying at St. Louis University. He's withdrawn his name from consideration at NC State. He said, since I arrived in April of 2024, we've worked tirelessly to deliver a program that makes everyone associated with it proud. Fans, alumni, administrators. Our overarching North Star is to give you a program that represents the very best traits of this amazing city and university, and we will continue to pour ourselves into doing just that. The Final Four is set. UConn with a stunning win over Duke, 73-72 on a near half-court shot that went down for Braylon Mullins. We'll get into that a little bit more at 7:45. UConn will play Illinois on Saturday at 5:09, followed by an incredible game between Michigan and Arizona. Blues play tonight at San Jose. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Folks, in 1898, McKelvey Homes started building homes here in St. Louis. That was 128 years ago, 1898. And to celebrate, in the month of March, so we have 2 days left, they are celebrating with the 1898 anniversary sale. 2 more days of saving $18,980 on their 1898 anniversary sale. This is on to-be-built homes, or select one of their 30 move-in ready homes and save even more, up to $94,000 from McKelvey Homes on their luxurious Summerlin Madison display home, for example. Go to McKelveyHomes.com and find out how you can save. Plus, on all move-in ready homes, get special 30-year fixed financing as low as 4.99% for qualified buyers. Check it out at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It is 7:21. Time for us to check traffic and weather here on Total Information AM. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, it looks like they're still down there working on that median wall that was involved, damaged in the crash we had southbound 55 before McNutt. It looks like they're in the right lane now, so the left lane is open, and we still have a jam north of Highway Z down to it. Not as bad on the northbound side, not as many flashing lights, so it's just sort of slow south of McNutt up past the crash scene, no longer jam northbound. Just a heavy slowdown there. There's still some slow traffic 141 to the Merrimack. The right lane's Butler Hill through Mattis, and then all lanes again bogged down. Bayless up the river to Pear. North 270 is a ramp on from 55 is a little busy. After that, it rolls pretty nicely, just kind of slow approaching Clayton Road, southbound 270, south of Olive down through Ladou's busy. Southbound 61, Winsville Parkway down to 64, but it opens up as you get through Prospect. Eastbound 70, the right lanes are a little busy at Z, Cape Springs, Zumbell area, a little slow, and again at the Rock Road. Westbound 64, Bellevue, Big Bend, starting to slow down a bit there. We've cleared out on the Illinois side. 64 still good at 159, and no problem across the Poplar. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hot one today, Roger. We're looking at a high of 88, low 66 tonight, and a high of 88 again tomorrow. Currently, it's 60 in downtown St. Louis.
It is 7:22. While President Trump pushes Congress to pass the SAVE Act, Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins says its passing would not be a major change for Missouri voters.
As far as election day here in the state of Missouri, we already require a photo ID to vote.
Hoskins says the big difference is you would need to prove citizenship when registering to vote. There is a lot of confusion, though, over whether a real ID would suffice. Even Hoskins admits a real ID doesn't show proof of citizenship.
Because that you have a real ID does not necessarily mean that you are a citizen.
Hoskins says it depends on what you used when obtaining the real ID. He could not say if there is currently a way to tell if a real ID obtained with documents that show citizenship just by looking at it, but he speculates future IDs might.
A Missouri senator is launching an investigation into the makers of a popular abortion pill. Senator Josh Hawley is accusing the manufacturers of mifepristone used for chemical abortions of hiding dangerous side effects. He claims the pill sends 11% of its users to the hospital. The senator revealed the investigation in a letter this week to the two largest companies that make the drug, Danco Laboratories and Gen BioPro.
Hawley compared the companies to big tobacco, saying they're burying research to protect billions in profits, and is demanding those companies hand over all internal documents. Meanwhile, his bill to bar the use of mifepristone and provide ways for women to seek damages is gaining traction with Republican senators.
It's 7:24. A contract dispute trial between a Springfield, Missouri development group against Mercy Health won't get underway this morning in Clayton because Mercy settled. But it brought to light more details involving the FBI blackmail and rape allegations. Pitt Development Group says former Mercy executive Don Sorensen was extorting them because he was being blackmailed by architect Steve Warlick, who was being investigated by the FBI for rape allegations.
According to the Post-Dispatch, Pitt wanted to depose the woman to show the connection between those two men, but Mercy then reached a settlement with her, which included a non-disclosure agreement. Recent federal drug charges against Warlick and Sorensen are tied to investigations into the two, including accusations Sorensen awarded Mercy construction work in exchange for gifts.
The president of the Central Illinois District of the Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod, has been arrested on child pornography charges. 54-year-old Michael William Moore was charged in St. Louis on Wednesday. He's being held in jail until facing trial. The charges come after investigators found Moore possessed videos of 3 juveniles using the bathroom in his home. They also found hidden cameras disguised as a wall clock and a Bluetooth speaker.
One of the juveniles told police he found a disguised camera in a hotel room. The victim said it happened the morning after Moore allegedly stood over the juvenile, committing an indecent act while the victim pretended to sleep. FBI in St. Louis believes there may be more victims, and they're asking people to contact the FBI.
It's 7:25. The Illinois House is advancing a bill that would allow human remains to be composted.
Well, folks, it is pretty much exactly what you would think it would be.
The Illinois House Energy and Environment Committee voted 18-9 last week to pass the Natural Organic Reduction Regulation Act. Supporters say the process is an eco-friendly alternative to burial or cremation. But Republican Representative Adam Niemerg says the bill lacks restrictions and disrespects human life.
Illinois Democrats are worried about a bill for human composting. So you literally will come back as yard fertilizer to be grown for tomatoes.
If passed by the full House, the act takes place in June of this year. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Investing in children early saves money in the long run. Illinois' governor is talking about the progress Illinois has made at the Common Sense Summit.
That's something you can convince, conservative Republican lawmakers to support. And so I believe that we have a real opportunity in this country finally to make the revolution a reality for our youngest children in our most trauma-filled communities.
Pritzker tells attendees at the Common Sense Conference he believes Illinois will achieve universal pre-K by 2027.
It's 7:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's Tom Ackerman for the Laterman Law Firm. I really like talking about them, the Laterman Law Firm. Look, I hear this all the time from people around St. Louis. I have an estate plan, I think. We did that years ago, right? We've been meaning to look at it again. Well, honestly, that's the problem. Estate plans are not one and done. My family's been clients of the Laterman Law Firm for more than 2 decades. And what I've learned is most plans don't fail because people don't care. They fail because life changes and the plan doesn't keep up. At Laterman Law Firm, it isn't just paperwork. It's an ongoing process. They build your estate plan to protect your family and your property. And then for a fixed annual fee, they actually help maintain it. So it stays aligned with changes in your life, your assets, and the law. If you're in the St. Louis metro area, including Illinois, and you want an estate plan that actually works, call the Laterman Law Firm, Laiderman, Laterman Law Firm at latermanlaw.com. Here's their phone number, 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Or messages you about investing your money and promises quick profits, guaranteed returns, or can't miss opportunities. Stop. Don't fall for the call. I'm Denny Hoskins, Missouri Secretary of State. Our office regulates investing and works to protect investors. Call the Missouri Securities Hotline at 800-721-7996 or visit MissouriProtectsInvestors.com. Paid for by the Missouri Investor Education and Protection Fund. This is a public service announcement.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, I think this is going to be a strange season for real estate. Just kind of feel it in my gut. What can people do apropos of their mortgage to put themselves in a better position to get that house?
You know what, Dave, that's a great question. There's a bidding wars that are going to happen this spring. You want to get the house. This is how you're going to make things better. Number one, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. That means you can go into our portal and generate the letter and edit it for any amount you want up to the amount you're approved without chasing the loan officer. Number two, the bagel loan, no closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. It's a bagel. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Add that money you would normally pay onto your bid and beat the other offers out. And you know what? The third thing is we can close fast. 10 days. They're going to look away at the other offers because most lenders take as much as 30 days to get done.
You can call or text Stewie at his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the bagel loan, NMLS 226715.
Come on. No. It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up.
I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid.
Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
It is 7:30. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, they're still working on 55 southbound where we had the crash earlier this morning to repair the median wall. It looks like they still have the right lane blocks. Southbound 55, a short jam approaching Z down across the Joachim Creek. Then it's opening up. Northbound still kind of slow in the area there north of McNutt through that stretch looking at it, but there's no northbound lane restrictions. Northbound 55 still a little busy. 141 to the Merrimack. The right lane's Butler Hill up to 270. All lanes starting to back up from the Union Road overpass again up to River to Paris, seeing heavier traffic there. Northbound Telegraph, you've got some traffic south of Yeager up through Pottle, looks pretty backed up. Northbound 270 is your ramp on from 55 up through Gravois slow, north of Big Bend, all the way up to Clayton Road. South 270 Olive de Ladue, that's heavier. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, it's a little busy at Bryan Road through Cave Springs, and then approaching 270 into the Rock Road, the biggest slowdown you've got there. Southbound 61, south of Wensfield Parkway onto 64, the Boulevard, both sides of Clarkson. It does jam from McKnight into about Big Bend. We had an incident they were clearing there. South 170 heavy at Brentwood, westbound 64 approaching Hampton, all the way out through Hanley is heavy, and we're starting to see delays now. Westbound 64 slow traffic, both sides of 159, but still looking okay at the Poplar. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says a hot one today, high 88, would break the record set in 1986 of 86. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm, low 66. Tomorrow, 88 again with sun and clouds, breezy and very warm. Currently, it's 60 in downtown St. Louis.
And it is time to tell you about what's happening in St. Charles tonight. A vote by the St. Charles County Council to determine whether or not local officers can be trained by ICE. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe recently authorized the Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers to undergo similar federal training. This is a bill in St. Charles County proposed by Councilman Mike Elam, and Councilman Joe Brazel says if the measure is passed, ICE would only train 10 officers, and they would not be bounty hunting illegal immigrants, but instead trained on how to lawfully pick up and process people who are here illegally.
County Democratic Central Committee member Don Crozier says he's afraid ICE involvement will break up local communities. The council is expected to take a final vote on the proposal tonight.
Before the county council meets tonight, a group is holding a news conference to voice opposition to this ICE vote. The group includes residents, St. Charles business owners, clergy, immigrant advocacy groups, and the ACLU. Participants say more than 1,000 letters in opposition have been sent to the county council. They plan to detail what they call the devastating economic and social costs to the bill and how it will not increase public safety.
Despite vocal opposition from residents, the Festus City Council could give preliminary approval to a massive data center tonight.
Residents say there's been a lack of transparency. A citizens group called Wake Up Jeffco is investigating potential sunshine law violations. City officials maintain they've been transparent about the process. KMOX reported on last week's packed public hearing at the Festus High School. Wake Up Jeffco's Lori Merriman says the proposed data center would be her neighbor. She's worried the framework the council could approve will leave too many important details out.
Once the contract gets signed, it could be a lawsuit against Festus, the city, if it doesn't go through. So there should be no contract signed until the people are involved, and they have never involved the people.
CRG's proposal includes a $5 million payment for a new fire station, as well as $40 million in community benefit payments over a decade. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com at 7:34, and we've got your Money Minute from Bloomberg coming up next.
St. Louis is a baseball town, and the Gas House Gang talks Cardinals baseball. Ackerman, Ranji, Nicholas, and Claves bring informed opinions and real insight. Smart baseball talk from guys who truly know the game. And every Tuesday at noon, it's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Passion, knowledge, the best baseball talk in town. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon. We know baseball. KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Total Information AM at 7:36. Your Money Minute is sponsored by UC Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Aluminum prices could be driven to record levels as Iran's weekend strikes on Middle Eastern smelters threaten a supply crisis. Futures traded on the London Metal Exchange surged as much as 6% on Monday after two major producers, Emirates Global Aluminum and Aluminum Bahrain, confirmed attacks by Iranian drones and missiles. The Middle East accounts for about 9% of global output of aluminum used in airplanes, food packaging, and solar panels. Brent crude surged as much as 3.7% to close to $117 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate jumped above $100 before pairing gains as Iran-backed Houthi militants in Yemen entered the Middle East war and more American troops arrived in the region. Brent crude is on track for a record monthly gain. Apollo Global Management says it's looking to open a second U.S. headquarters in either South Florida or Texas. The investment giant would be the latest in a group of financial companies opening headquarters in the Sun Belt. Apollo expects its future growth to take place in the new headquarters. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Spring is just around the corner, and big savings are in full bloom at Menards. Visit Menards Garden Center for everything you need to get your garden growing. Choose from hundreds of beautiful, colorful flowers, lush trees and shrubs, and everything in between. Menards Garden Center is back in bloom. Stop in today to get your garden on. Check out fresh deals happening now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
GLP-1s work, and STL weight loss injections can help you navigate the process. Their amazing staff is here to work with you to begin a new weight loss journey. The first month is just $199. For more information and to schedule an appointment, head to stlweightlossinjections.com.
Tonight,
the Cards, the Mets.
Cameron Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:40. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center with the latest on your ride in on this Monday morning.
Well, it looks like we still have the lane restrictions, Debbie, on southbound 55, right near McNutt. This traffic reports the service at Chesterfield Fence Deck just before McNutt, where he had the earlier crash. They're repairing the concrete wall that was damaged. So southbound 55 is a solid jam back to Highway Z. Northbound 55, a little backup just past Highway A, but then it picks up the pace after that. It's a little slow, 141 to the Merrimack, and all lanes are backed up from Bayless up to River to Pear. North 270 is a ramp on from 55 to Sappington. Gravois midway to 44. Big Bend most of the way up to 64. Southbound 270 backs up briefly at 364. Then it's slow down to Ladue. Eastbound Highway 70, you've got heavy traffic approaching Lake St. Louis through Bryan Road and from Earth City into the Rock Road. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Annie Guns are east of Boone's Crossing, past Clarkson, pockets east of Lindbergh through the Innerbelt. The Innerbelt slows down southbound at Delmar. Westbound 64, Science Center through Big Bend is busy. downtown, a little heavy on the Poplar, and delays both sides of 159 on westbound 64 as well. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. I was chatting with the Mets broadcasters in spring training, looking to this first road trip for them, and they were bracing for the cold weather. Surprise! It's 88 today.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful today. Another summery day. Tom, with temperatures breaking the record of 86 from 1986 with lots of sunshine. Partly cloudy tonight, only 66. Sun and clouds tomorrow, a warm, breezy day with a high of 88. We'll get to the record of 87 pretty easily. That was set in 1981. Now, a front does drop into the area tomorrow night. Probably going to be some showers and thunderstorms with it. And a couple of showers and a thunderstorm hang in the balance for Wednesday. That'll keep us cooler in the mid-60s. I think we get back into the low to mid-70s Thursday with rain and a thunderstorm. Could be a thunderstorm or two on Friday, but temperatures reach the low 80s. It does turn a little bit cooler for the coming weekend. Right now, it's already 65 at St. Peter's, 63 in Florissant. Partly cloudy, 61 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right. Thank you, Joe. It is now 7:42 and the news continues. Measles, a disease pretty much eradicated, is now spreading like wildfire across the nation. The CDC confirming more than 1,500 cases since January. On Face the Nation, Dr. Jerome Adams, former U.S. Surgeon General, says this jump in cases is due to funding cuts.
Normally, we have measles cases every year. We had about 250 in 2024. We had about 2,000 last year. As you mentioned, we're at 1,500 already this year. But normally, we're able to control those outbreaks because of the CDC, because of public health infrastructure and funding. All of that has been cut. And now, instead of one case turning into 2 or 3 and being stopped, it's turning into 20 and 50 and 100 cases.
Almost 20,000 people have been cut from the Department of Health and Human Services.
The Iran war is starting to hit millions of Americans where it hurts, their local coffee shop.
The symphony of steam and grinding beans performed millions of times a day in the nation's coffee shops, but customers may be in for some severe sticker shock. Wholesale prices, already put under pressure by tariffs, crop failures, and rising rent and labor costs, are being further hammered by the Iran war. Now, little or none of the coffee that passes through the Strait of Hormuz is actually headed to the USA, but fears of wider disruption have led speculators to pile into the market, sending the price of beans surging. Many chains have tried not to pass the price hikes along to consumers, but smaller operators in particular may face the choice of raising their prices or shutting up shop. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
From coffee to chocolate, Nestle is warning of potential shortages of Kit Kats in the days leading up to Easter, although I suppose that could be any chocolate. CBS News correspondent Jesse Mitchell says there was a massive chocolate heist in Europe.
Swiss food giant Nestle confirmed over the weekend a vehicle carrying 12 tons of Kit Kat bars went missing. The more than 413,000 Kit Kats were being transported from Italy to Poland when the truck carrying the candy disappeared. In a statement, Nestle credits the thieves for having good taste, but noted cargo theft is a growing problem.
for having good taste. Where'd they go? We got to solve the Kit Kat problem. My goodness. Cardinal baseball tonight, 6:45 start against the Mets, 5:50 pregame. Cardinals throwing Kyle Leahy tonight against Clay Holmes. Starting pitching, good the first 2 games, not so good yesterday. Dustin May gave up 6. Cardinals lost the game 11-7 to the Rays. It was a good day, really a good series for Jordan Walker.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch to Walker is hit in the air to deep left center field. That's back to the wall, and it's gone! Big fly, Jordan Walker! And the Cardinals do indeed strike with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning, and it's now 6-4. Tampa Bay.
3-run bomb for Jordan Walker. He was 3 for 4 yesterday, scored 3 runs as well, hitting 400 so far through the first series. Cardinals again lose the game 11-7. They win the opening series against the Rays, and they host the Mets tonight. You remember Christian Laettner's shot against Kentucky for Duke back in the day? Well, This might have been better. Here it is. This is Westwood 1. Duke is up on UConn late in the final seconds. Scott Graham with the call.
72-70, Duke by 2. Shaki the inbound now, full court pressure from Sar, gets it into Cam Boozer. Boozer back to Sar, now ahead to Boozer, and UConn got a steal. Caravan for Mullins, long three, he got it! Oh, he got it! He hit it! He hit the long three-pointer from the logo with 0.3 of a second left to go.
Braylon Mullins, the freshman out of the state of Indiana for UConn, knocks down a long three from half court, and UConn beats Duke on that shot, 73-72 to advance to the Final Four. They'll take on Illinois on Saturday at 5:09. The other one, Michigan and Arizona. Michigan just obliterated Tennessee, 95-64. to get to the Final Four. Josh Schertz at St. Louis University. He is staying. He's withdrawn his name from consideration at NC State. He did interview with NC State on Saturday. AD Chris May acknowledged that on KMOX's Sports on a Sunday Morning.
Well, it is. And what I feel best about is we are in a position to compete on a national level right now. And we've got all the pieces in place, from the ability to support high-level staff, to operations, to the rev share piece, to our unbelievable community support in a large market. There's just a lot of pieces that we have today that we can compete with. We can compete with people at the highest level. So it's part of the business. It can be uneasy at times, but the strength of St. Louis University and our program right now has never been stronger.
Billikens with a 29-6 season. They lost to the aforementioned Michigan Wolverines in the second round. The Blues play tonight. They're at San Jose at 9 o'clock. Nashville lost yesterday. The Blues are still in this. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot in the Western Conference. Amazingly, we'll keep an eye on it. They're 10-1-2 in their last 13. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3. First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us, there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan, or thepeople.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Experience the power and passion of Mahler's Fifth Symphony with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Music director Stefan Denev leads this monumental work, paired with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra's first performances of Carlos Simon's Double Concerto Suite, featuring Grammy-winning violinist Hilary Hahn and cellist Seth Parker Woods. April 10th, 11th, and 12th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Calling all runners. Register now for the Cardinals 5K on Saturday, April 18th, and you can take a victory lap on the field at Busch Stadium. Don't miss this chance to bring the whole family for a fun St. Louis 5K race that brings fans together to support kids in the community. The Cardinals 5K, Saturday, April 18th. Register now at cardinals.com/5K. And for more information, just head to KMOX.com/events.
Now the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:50, and that means it's time for traffic and weather. Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, it looks like the right lane is still shut down southbound 55 before McNutt from where we had the earlier crash that damaged part of the median wall in the work zone. So we still have a southbound jam back to Highway Z and Peevely. Northbound's a little busy on 55 at Highway A, but after that, It's clear sailing until you get to about Bayless. Bayless to River to Bear is kind of busy on northbound 270, or northbound 55 rather. North 270 from Tesson Ferry through Gravois, 44 all the way up to Ladue is slow. South 270 south of Dorset down to Ladue, there are slow pockets. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis into Bryan Road is a busy part, and then it's a little slow around Earth City and through 270 after that. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway onto 64, a couple of spots where it's heavy. The Lake St. Louis Boulevard, Boone's Crossing through Clarkson, and then Spady in through the Interbelt. There are heavy pockets. South 170 bogged down, Olive to 64, westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. You've got delays, and on the Illinois side, westbound 64 passing 158, a little jam, and then there's a slowdown at 159. And eastbound Highway 30 is pretty heavy east of the Merrimack and pockets over to 270. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hot day today, high 88. Tomorrow, high 88 again. Back-to-back summer days with a low of 66 tonight. Currently, it's 60 downtown.
The news continues at 7:52. St. Louis County Police are still investigating a homicide on the north side that resulted in the death of an adult male. Officers from the North County Precinct responded to a call for a shooting on Sunday in the 11,800 block of Kingsfont Place. They, upon arrival, located an adult male suffering from at least one gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. There are no suspects in custody.
A hostage situation led to an officer-involved shooting in Shrewsbury early yesterday morning. St. Louis County Police had a domestic disturbance in the 7,500 block of Murdoch around 2 a.m., and a suspect had forced his way into the home holding a man at gunpoint. Negotiators attempted to de-escalate the tension, but at about 5:30, the suspect raised his gun at the hostage, and the county officer fired, striking the suspect at least once. The suspect is a 30-year-old who was taken to the hospital. The hostage and officers were not hurt. That investigation remains active.
More security for downtown St. Louis could be in place as soon as May. That's what Bob O'Loughlin told attendees Friday at an historic revitalization for Missouri luncheon. O'Loughlin is expected to be on the board of the new downtown St. Louis Entertainment District. That new district was made possible by passage of state legislation and a Board of Aldermen bill that passed but has yet to be signed by Mayor Spencer.
According to the Post-Dispatch, the district will be able to hire private security and would be empowered to guarantee ticket sales for an event. O'Loughlin is chairman and CEO of Lodging Hospitality Management and says a visible police presence is crucial to making downtown visitors feel like they're in the safest downtown in the United States.
Festus residents hiring an attorney to help them fight that proposed data center. Meanwhile, the Festus City Council could give preliminary approval to that project as soon as tonight.
The power lines are 1,500 feet in front of my house, and the data center will be 1,600 feet to the left of my house. So that's why I got involved.
Lori Merriman is the driving force behind Wake Up Jeffco, a group formed to fight the proposed data center. Her main concerns: property values, health impacts, use of resources, and costs to the community. She contends there's been no meaningful dialogue between residents and city officials.
I've spoken at every council meeting since the beginning of this, and they just sit and stare at you, but they don't speak back.
The group was looking into potential violations of sunshine laws. Developer CRG has promised Festus tens of millions of dollars. So far, residents have raised $20,000 for legal fees, but say it will take much more to fight the proposal. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
KMOX News has reached out to developer Chris McKee at CRG to discuss the data center proposal. We have not gotten a response. And we spoke last week with the mayor of Festus. You can hear that conversation on the podcast page at KMOX.com.
Following court decisions against Meta and YouTube, the U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Jerome Adams, says it's a challenge to enact legislation. Adams served as U.S. Surgeon General during President Trump's first term. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says social media companies have shown us they won't step up, so Illinois is stepping in.
On-platform location sharing and stop the scam financial transactions between children and unknown users. We need to pass the Children's Social Media Safety Act. Protecting our kids is just common sense.
Also in the news, March Madness. Just how good was it? Well, in this area, it stirred a lot more than just basketball fever. It generated almost $52 million in visitor spending last weekend. That's according to data from the Action Network. That number is equal to almost 13% of the city's economy, making last weekend's spending surge the tournament with the highest economic impact of any host city in the nation.
Cardinals, Battlehawks, Blues, college basketball, City, just in the last month. Do people go downtown for sports? Yes, with a capital Y-E-S. Absolutely. I'll say it over and over. It's 7:56.
I'm Roger Brand, and this is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
For the last 33 years, Banner Construction has prided itself on quality craftsmanship with its creative work on exterior home restoration. Banner believes the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering a restoration project is, who do you hire? Do you hire someone with the lowest price? Well, we all want the lowest price. Who wouldn't? But this is your home, your biggest life investment. Please be careful of the people who cut corners to win your business. They're cutting expenses, and they're not doing a great job. Banner is doing a phenomenal job. Their preferred James Hardy specialist in St. Louis, the preferred Pella Window specialist in St. Louis is Banner Construction, and it's important to choose an experienced expert like Banner to make sure the job is done beautifully. Banner knows how much you love your home, and their goal is to make you fall in love with your home all over again. Go to bannerconstruction.com to learn more about their services and schedule a free in-home consultation. Banner Construction, 314-569-1050, and have a banner day.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, they still have the right lane closed on southbound 55 north of McNutt, where we had that earlier crash. So there's still a jam back to Highway Z on southbound 55. Northbound 55, a little bit of a backup just briefly north of Highway A in the work zone there. Once you get around that, you've got the slow traffic from about Bayless up to River to Pear. Loughborough up through Virginia is also a little busy. North 270 approaching Tesson Ferry through Gravois. A little slowdown at 44, and then Big Bend most of the way to Ladue is busy. South 270, some slow pockets from 364 down to Ladue. Eastbound 64 off 61 through to Lake St. Louis Boulevard's heavy. Boone's Crossing through Clarkson, a little slow traffic, and east of 270, heavy pockets all the way into Big Bend. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump is talking tough again about Iran, vowing harsh steps he'll take to end the war. This morning on social media, he threatened to obliterate a key oil terminal, Karg Island, and target desalination plants if Tehran doesn't agree to a peace plan and open the Strait of Hormuz immediately. CBS's Torian Small.
Potential invasion of Karg Island would see indefinite investment of U.S. troops, military engagement on the island, which runs pretty much antithetical to what his campaign promise in 2024 was no prolonged wars, forever wars.
2,500 U.S. Marines arrived in the region over the weekend. Lines still long at U.S. airports, but there is new hope. They'll thin out soon. TSA officers could begin receiving back pay as soon as today after an executive order from President Trump. Correspondent Jason Allen at the airport in Houston.
The wait here is about 30 minutes to an hour or so, depending on where they are. They have been moving people from one terminal to another, whichever line is shorter. That is a lot better than it has been at times over the past week.
The president ordered DHS to fund TSA pay after House Republicans rejected a Senate deal last Friday and left for vacation. Russia says one of its oil tankers reached port in Cuba this morning, after President Trump said he had no problem with breaking a U.S. blockade that's led to island-wide power outages. The president predicts it won't be long until the Cuban government falls.
Within a short period of time, it's going to fail, and we will be there to help it out. We'll be there to help our great Cuban Americans out.
Cuban doctors tell the New York Times patients on ventilators have been dying because of the blockade. For the first time since 1972, NASA's begun a countdown to send astronauts to the moon. Correspondent Mark Strassman's at Kennedy Space Center.
One more sign we're getting close to liftoff here. NASA's official countdown clock begins ticking later this afternoon. And right now, everything is looking good for a Wednesday evening launch.
Israel's top Catholic cleric will be allowed to proceed with Easter week observances in Jerusalem. CBS's Vicki Barker.
When Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, was barred from entering the Church of the Holy Sepulchre to celebrate Palm Sunday Mass yesterday, several Western nations objected, and Cardinal Pizzaballa himself said it was the first time in centuries such a thing had happened. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has confirmed the Patriarch will have full access to the church during this, the holiest week in the Christian calendar.
Dow futures are up 348. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, March 30th. I'm Megan Lynch. High school students in St. Louis holding a march this morning against youth violence. It's being led by Movement Not Moment, a youth-led anti-violence initiative. The group was started after a shooting in 2021 took the life of 19-year-old Isis Marr, who was a graduate of Cardinal Ritter College Prep High School. The group says the march aims to inspire action and unity. The march will begin at 9 a.m. at the Wool Recreation Center and end at Cardinal Ritter Prep High School. Today's vote by the St. Charles County Council will determine whether or not local officers can be trained by ICE. The proposal comes after Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe recently authorized Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers to undergo similar federal training. As reported by KSDK, County Councilman Joe Brazel says if the measure is passed, ICE would only train 10 local officers. He said officers would not be bounty hunting illegal immigrants in the area. Instead, he says officers will be trained on how to lawfully pick up and process people who are here illegally. The council expected to take a final vote on the proposal tonight. Before the St. Charles County Council meets tonight, a group holding a news conference to voice opposition to that ICE bill. The group includes residents, business owners, clergy, immigrant advocacy groups, and the ACLU. Participants say more than 1,000 letters in opposition have been sent to the council. They plan to detail what they call the devastating economic and social costs and how it won't increase public safety. TSA workers at nationwide airports could be receiving checks as early as today. President Trump has signed an executive order to pay TSA agents with other funds. It's not known exactly when payments will get to the workforce.
As KMOX reported over the weekend, civilian members of the United States Coast Guard are not being paid, but there has not been much in the way of reporting on this.
There's so many civilian employees who feel that they've been forgotten by the U.S. government. There's about 8,000 civilian employees who support Coast Guard operations.
That's Brooke Millard. She's retired Coast Guard and is now the CEO of Coast Guard Mutual Assistance. Border Czar Tom Homan said ICE agents will remain in airports until TSA employees return to work. Homan made no mention, though, of the Coast Guard members.
We're going to continue an ICE presence there until the airports feel like they're 100% in a posture where they can do normal operations.
At least 500 TSA workers have quit their jobs while stickouts continue. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
They could have paid them just the way they paid servicemen and women during the last shutdown, with the money that they grabbed during reconciliation.
Illinois Senator and combat Iraq veteran Tammy Duckworth saying the no pay for TSA workers wasn't necessary.
Stop using our hardworking TSA agents as pawns in your political game and pay them.
Missouri's junior Senator Eric Schmidt accusing the Democrats of causing the delays.
You want to understand this, and I see it every day. This is their core operating principle right now. They believe in open borders. They don't think we should be deporting people. So if they can't get a bill passed that has amnesty for 15 million people, they want to basically kneecap ICE's ability to deport people. We're not going to let that happen.
Schmidt says while the TSA, Coast Guard, and Secret Service should be funded, so should ICE's deportation efforts. If the SAVE Act were to become law, could you vote with a Missouri Real ID?
In a conversation with KMOX, Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins was listing the types of IDs that would show citizenship if the SAVE Act were to be passed and signed as written. When it came to real IDs,
a real ID, many of the forms that you use in order to get a real ID are forms that prove that you are citizenship.
But he continues with,
however, just because that you have a real ID does not necessarily mean that you are a citizen.
So which is it? Would a real ID be sufficient then? Because you kind of just said you can use a real ID, but it doesn't show citizenship.
Well, I think with Real ID, it may depend on how exactly, what information you provided to get that Real ID. Did you provide a birth certificate, social security card, passport, things like that, or did you use some of the other information?
Asked if there was any way you could tell by looking at a Real ID what documents were used and if it showed citizenship, Hoskins said there could be down the road, but not at this moment. He adds a Real ID should be sufficient for most voters. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the KMOX business desk, gas prices around St. Louis held steady over the past week. According to Gas Buddy, gas prices in the city averaged $3.78 per gallon today. That's the exact same average the region saw last Monday. It's now 8:08. We'll check traffic and weather together in 2 minutes here on Total Information AM.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fredbird and games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family-favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, you're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. Let's get a check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change, Megan, on southbound 55. It's still that right lane closed north of McNutt from an early morning crash. They're working there, so there's a jam. Back to about the Joachim Creek south of Highway Z. Not as bad as it was, but it is still backed up. Northbound's fine through there. Northbound 55 is still slow, though, from Bayless up to about Holly Hills. North 270, a little busy past Gravois, and then approaching Big Bend all the way to Ladue. South 270 is just a little slow at Ladue. That's not bad. Eastbound 70, just a little busy approaching the Rock Road. 64 There's a little volume at Clarkson. Really doesn't bog down much until you get it to about Spady through the Interbelt. Southbound 170, a couple of heavy spots coming down from Delmar. Westbound 64, bunched up Science Center, headed out through the Big Bend area. 44, a little slow at Elm. Eastbound 30, Mauer to 270 is heavy. On the Illinois side, looks great. There's just a little slowdown. Westbound 64 at 158, where we had a minor crash. That's almost thinned out. Otherwise, you're cleared, sailing, headed for the bridges. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine today, a breezy, very warm afternoon, our high 88. That would break the record of 86 from 1986. And partly cloudy, breezy, and warm tonight, those 66. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, another breezy, summer-like day with a high of 88. The record 87 was set in 1981. But Wednesday, cloudy and cooler with some showers and a thunderstorm, the high 65. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we have cloudy skies, 63 degrees in Florissant. It's 64 in St. Peter, 62 downtown at the Arch. Leading experts meet in St. Louis this week to talk about the things that are testing the nation's ability to protect public health. It's organized by Dr. Sandro Galea, Dean of the Washington University School of Public Health.
It is intended to be a look at the challenges facing public health in this moment and pointing towards solutions.
Let's dig in. What are some of the main challenges that you see public health systems facing right now?
Well, in the moment, public health is dealing with a whole range of issues. We have an erosion of public health infrastructure funding. This has consequences for how prepared we are for disasters, for pandemics. There's been a lot of instability in the public health workforce, in no small part driven by challenges in the public conversation, some of the federal administration's challenges to public health. And a lot of these challenges really are part of broader political and economic agendas, including the shrinking of federal, state, and local budgets, which affects public health. So public health as formally structured right now, which is really a local, state, federal set of organizations that whose job it is to protect the health of the public, is under strain in a way it hasn't been in 25 years.
When do you feel like you saw the start of this?
In many ways, I think none of these challenges are new. I think they've been emerging and growing over the past 10 years. I think COVID really accelerated it, and public health was really called to rise to the occasion in COVID, which I think it did in many ways. But of course, COVID got caught up in substantial partisan acrimony in this country. I don't think there's any surprise to anyone listening to this. And public health, because it was the actor that was charged with keeping populations safe, inevitably got caught up in what was happening around COVID. And I think that then led to the election of a federal administration that has seen public health as being on the other side of what it would like its agenda to be. Of course, public health shouldn't be on either side. Public health is not blue or red. Public health is purple. Public health is about what we do together to make sure that we can stay healthy, which to my mind means it's in all our interests to make sure that we have a healthy public health so we can be healthy.
I know the one thing that I saw a lot of people in the community try to grapple with, especially during the pandemic, and it's just continued, is this issue of health misinformation. How challenging has it been for public health systems to combat that?
It has been really difficult to deal with the flow of information over the past decade, ever increasing through social media and through all sorts of other alternative media. And some of that information, in fact, quite a bit of that information is often incorrect, which we tend to call misinformation. So I think it has been difficult for traditional forms of communication to get messages across, to make sure that people have access to accurate information in a timely manner. There has also been something which is called disinformation, which means with people using social media to deliberately misinform the public, and that has been its own challenge. So I think we have had this issue of breaking through some of that noise to make sure that people have accurate information about what it is that we should be aware of in order to promote our health.
When we look at public health, what are some of the key issues as far as those health issues that people are dealing with right now? Is it infectious diseases? Is it, chronic disease? What do you see?
It is all of those. Public health deals with the challenge of rising mood anxiety disorders, depression, and anxiety in young people. Public health deals with the fact that we have much more premature death from cardiovascular disease than we should. Public health deals with making sure that there is better screening for cancer. Public health is what keeps us from having outbreaks of infectious disease. So all of these are very much what public health does day to day.
What have you seen when it comes to tracking data, even over the last 5 years? Has that become a greater challenge?
It has been. We cannot track the forces that generate health, nor can we track our health without data. We as a country have been blessed to have access to quite a bit of data over the years, but of course in the past couple of years in particular, a lot of those data sources have been under threat, that we have seen some number of data sources taken offline, and we have seen challenges to science and efforts to collect data. These efforts threaten our ability to promote healthy populations. And we need a robust public health to make sure that we have the data to be able to monitor what threatens our health and to monitor our health. Without that, we, you and I, anybody listening to this, are running the risk of not being as healthy as we should be.
When it comes to the experts that you've pulled in for this forum that you're having, give us a sense of, what their expertise is and what you hope they'll address.
Yeah, so we have the leaders from the 4 leading public health associations in the country: the American Public Health Association, the National Association of County and City Health Officials, the Association of State and Territorial Health Officials, and the Association of Schools and Programs of Public Health. And these 4 organizations really represent the leading organizations that bring together the public health professionals whose job it is to keep the country healthy. So we brought them together intentionally to have a conversation with them. What do they see the challenges are? What do they see as the potential solutions? And to have a conversation that I'm hoping will be generative, not just among the panelists, but between the panelists and the attendees, as a way of both illuminating the challenges, but also pointing to hope, pointing to ways forward.
What do you see when it comes to students who want to enter this arena of public health and, what they see as challenges, but also opportunities?
From my perspective, as long as the world cares about adolescent mental health, as long as the world cares that we do not die prematurely from heart disease, as long as the world cares that we can detect cancer early so we can treat it, as long as the world cares about us not having another pandemic, then the world needs excellent public health. So while this is a moment of challenge, it is also a moment of opportunity for a person early in their career who would like a career in something that is meaningful, makes a difference, and that is only going to grow in importance in the coming decades, because we are only going to care more about these issues, not less. These issues are going to be issues that we want to grapple with as Americans or as the world. So I think there's tremendous opportunity for those early in their career, even if sometimes it feels like the challenges can be overwhelming. But within such moment of challenges, of course, is when there are opportunities.
You can still join tomorrow virtually to that forum. It starts at 4 p.m. Go to the WashU Alumni Events page to register. It's now 8:19. Let's see how things are rolling on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have some issues out there, Megan. Not too many, though. This traffic reports of service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. One of them is going to be westbound 64. I mentioned some delays both ways around Big Bend. It's a crash at the end of the on-ramp, so it's just blocking the on-ramp at the very end of it onto westbound 64. So it's not a terrible situation, but the traffic is still on the brakes from out the Science Center out to there on the westbound side. And if you're on eastbound 64, you're heavy from east of Lindbergh to that point. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Northbound 270, let's call it north of Big Bend up to Ladue, still busy. 55, you've still got that southbound back up. The right lane still closed before McNutt. Traffic's jammed south of Z down into that work zone. Northbound 55 is just a little slow right around Weber Road. And on the Illinois side, everything is looking good for you right now. 100 years, that's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for same-day repair service and no extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. Coming up on Total Information AM, Festus residents vow to fight a massive data center development in their community. There's a meeting tonight. We're going to give you a preview of that with one of the opponents coming up in just a moment. First, though, a check of that forecast for today. Mostly sunny, breezy, warm. We're expecting a high of 88 degrees. That could break a record. Tonight, partly cloudy, breezy, and warm with a low of 66. And then tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds, breezy, warm again, a high of 88. That, again, could break a record set back in 1981. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. Dr. Jean Wang, a WashU medicine gastroenterologist at Siteman Cancer Center.
Our young onset colorectal cancer center focuses on the problems that younger patients might have. And we pay attention to things like fertility, support with trying to manage childcare and caring for older parents during that time. It's a great resource for these younger patients.
Visit siteman.wustl.edu.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents. So when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Festus residents are mounting a legal challenge to plans for a massive data center in that Jefferson County community. As KMOX has reported, the Festus City Council could give preliminary approval to the project as soon as tonight. Developer CRG wants a 360-acre development. Lori Merriman, the driving force behind the citizens group Wake Up Jeffco, says she's just trying to save her 4.5 acres.
The power lines are 1,500 feet in front of my house, and the data center will be 1,600 feet to the left of my house. So that's why I got involved.
Her main concerns: property values, health impacts, use of resources, costs to the community, and security, depending on which company uses the facility. CRG's proposal includes a $5 million payment for a new fire station, as well as $40 million in community benefit payments over a decade. Would there be any scenario where you would say, yes, this could be a benefit to the community?
I don't know, because it will never be a benefit to me. Like, what, do I just lose my property value? I mean, I have probably $1 million in my property right now. Do I just say, okay, who's going to buy my house ever? Right next to 3 hyperscale data centers that are planning on going in.
I'm curious if you've had any conversations with the developer themselves, Chris McKee and CRG.
Okay, so the only time I've had conversation was we had a meeting. The citizens held a meeting immediately when we found out about this at the American Legion Hall. And my husband and I were in the front seat, and Chris McKee showed up to that. And the only conversation I've had with him was me asking him, would you put this in your backyard? And he said, absolutely. And that was it. I've tried to contact him since then. I've had no response.
Merriman is concerned the city council will accept the framework proposal and then be locked in.
Once the contract gets signed, it could be a lawsuit against Festus, the city, if it doesn't go through. So there should be no contract signed until the people are involved, and they have never involved the people.
Festus's mayor has told KMOX the whole purpose of last week's public hearing was to gain that community input. Wake Up Jeffco contends there may have been violations of sunshine and notification laws. Plus, the group is now trying to confirm reports that one of the properties eyed by the developer could be the burial site of slaves. Disturbing graves is a felony under Missouri law. As we mentioned, the developer has promised Festus tens of millions of dollars. So far, residents have scraped together $20,000 for legal fees, but say it will take much more to fight the development. Tonight's meeting will be at Festus High School. KMOX News has reached out to developer Chris McKee at CRG to discuss the proposal. We have not yet had a response. It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
If snow and cold has you thinking spring, why don't you do something constructive and call Chesterfield Fence and Deck? Let this be the year that you have that beautiful outdoor space that you've always wanted. Whether you're talking about a new deck, a patio, a pergola, they do all of it. And of course, fences as well, sunrooms, screen rooms. You can visit their beautiful showroom in the Chesterfield Valley. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best since 1968. All of their products are guaranteed by a 5-year labor warranty, comprehensive material warranties provided. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Now, if you're looking for the rock bottom cheapest price, Chesterfield Fence and Deck is not it. What they are is the company that guarantees their work and has been doing great work for 57 years. Quality work that will last for a long, long time. So you can enjoy your outdoor space for years to come. If you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. ChesterfieldFence.com.
Spring cleaning is upon us, but there's one meaningful box that you don't throw away when cleaning out your closet. It's the box filled with your family's important videotapes, film reels, and photos. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago to help families organize and update their analog media to digital.
Legacy Box is simple and easy. It works and is safe. Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box.
And Legacy Box has been featured in Good Housekeeping, The Today Show, and Rachel Ray.
Legacy Box is like magic, converting your shoebox of memories to the cloud or thumb drive, ready to watch and share.
Declutter your closet by digitizing your media. Become more organized and accomplished, knowing your family's recorded past is safe forever. Take advantage of our spring cleaning sale going on now. It's the easiest task to check off your to-do list.
For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/radio.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Universal Windows Direct. March is that time of year when a lot of us start thinking about fresh start, spring cleaning, that kind of stuff. If you are in the market for replacement windows, here's the deal from Universal. When you buy 2 windows, you get 2 for free with no limit, 24 months with no payments and no interest, giving you 2 full years to enjoy the comfort before paying a dime. $500 bonus off your home improvement project, 314-334-2522 or universalwindowsdirect.com.
8:30, time for another check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We saw backed up traffic both ways on 64, Megan. Eastbound 64, stop and go stuff from the Clayton-Wharton overpass to east of Lindbergh into Big Bend. Westbound from Hampton out to Big Bend. Can't tell if that crash is still at the end of the on-ramp, but the traffic's still backed up about the same, so there may still be the restrictions there for folks coming on from Big Bend. Southbound 170, Brentwood to 64, you've got a backup. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry, pockets up to Ladue. South 270 is thinned out there. We still have the road work going on in the right lane, southbound 55 north of McNutt. Traffic's jammed back to about the Joachim Creek south of Highway Z. Northbound 55, just a little bit of a slowdown. Weber to River to Pear. On the Illinois side, everything looks great coming in for the bridges downtown. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, mostly sunny, breezy, warm today, a high of 88 degrees, partly cloudy, breezy, and warm tonight with a low of 66. And then we'll have another mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, breezy, another warm day, a high reaching 88. Currently, we have sunshine, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. More news now at 8:31. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened widespread destruction of Iran's energy resources and other vital infrastructure if a deal to end the war with Tehran is not reached soon. Iran has turned to cyber operations to make up for military disadvantages in its conflict with Israel and the U.S. Hackers supporting Iran have launched thousands of cyber attacks on companies and organizations in both the U.S. and Israel. Savannah Guthrie will return to NBC's Today Show April 6th. The longtime morning show co-anchor has been absent since her mother's disappearance nearly 2 months ago. And the Final Four set for the men's March Madness tournament. It's Arizona, Illinois, Michigan, and UConn.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at Lowe's.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman.
Gold extended its first weekly gain since the Middle East conflict began, as bullion rose as much as 1.3% to trade above $4,500 an ounce. Overall, though, gold is down around 14% since the war in Iran began at the end of February. Cisco, the biggest U.S. food distributor to restaurants, hospitals, and schools, is close to a deal to buy Restaurant Depot for around $29 billion. The family-owned company would receive $21.6 billion in cash and 91.5 million Cisco shares under the terms of the acquisition. Restaurant Depot allows smaller restaurant owners to pick up food supplies the same day if they're running low on inventory. Tens of thousands of TSA officers who have been working without pay for 44 days are supposed to start receiving checks today after President Trump signed an executive order to pay them on Friday. It's unclear whether the move will translate into shorter wait times for passengers who've had to deal with record wait times at airport security lines. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
The real estate picture for March shows a moderate spring with slowly rising inventory and home prices increasing at a slower pace. But none of that really means anything to you if you have to sell a home, right? You've got to sell one. So what you really need is the right agent. And that agent is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She is the agent who is going to guarantee in writing that she'll sell your home at the price and time frame you both agree upon, or she'll buy it herself. So that is peace of mind. That's not you having to listen to every news story about what the markets are doing. That's you just getting a written guarantee that your home will be sold, guaranteed, with Gloria Liu. In fact, Gloria will sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. Go ahead and interview other agents when you're in this home selling process, but I don't think you're going to find any that do a written guarantee like Gloria. Of course, Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. Give her a call with all your questions, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Shows Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Here's reason 17. In today's new world, many law firms have had money injected into their firms by Wall Street, private equity, and other lenders. This money usually comes in at very, very high interest rates. It's one of the reasons you see so many lawyers advertising. I'm John Morgan. This money is expensive and the interest compounds quickly. These law firms can have a huge need for cash just to pay that debt. Why does it matter to you? My fear is your case is settled early and for far less than it's worth, just to service the loan that has mafia-like rates. Our financial strength is your advantage. That plus our reputation makes our firm your firm. Visit forthepeople.com to see our results and verdicts. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Calling all runners. Register now for the Cardinals 5K on Saturday, April 18th. And you can take a victory lap on the field at Busch Stadium. Don't miss this chance to bring the whole family for a fun St. Louis 5K race that brings fans together to support kids in the community. The Cardinals 5K, Saturday, April 18th. Register now at cardinals.com/5K. And for more information, just head to kmox.com/events.
Let's see how things are rolling on the roads. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center. How's it look out there on this Monday morning, Roger?
Well, we still don't have any change on southbound 55, Megan. This traffic reports a service of Artistic Decks. So that's the roadwork going on in the right lane from the earlier crash this morning north of McNutt. So traffic's still jammed back to the Joachim Creek south of Z on southbound 55. If you're on eastbound 64, it's still slow east of Lindbergh, backed up 170 through Hanley. Then it starts picking up the pace by the time you get to Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton out through the Big Bend Hanley area still busy. South 170 Bogstown at the Parkway. Northbound 270 Manchester up through 64 is still kind of busy. And we have an injury crash out in St. Charles County, Salt Lake at Mexico. Emergency crews on the scene. I'm Roger Brand in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Ready to hit a home run with your backyard? Call Artistic Decks. We're celebrating 25 years of A-plus service with massive rollback pricing. Get a professional custom-built deck for less. Hit it out of the park with Artistic Decks. Call 314-280-0821 today.
Coming up on Total Information AM, there is a high rate of suicide among veterans and first responders. Debbie Monterrey is going to talk with the Modern Health Trust, which is pushing for legislation that would be a first step for alternative treatments for PTSD, namely the use of psychedelics. So stay with us for that. First, though, a check of the forecast. Mostly sunny, breezy, very warm today. We're expecting a high of 88 degrees. That could break a record of 86 set back in 1986. Partly cloudy, breezy, and warm tonight with an overnight low in the mid-60s. And then tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds, breezy and warm again. We're looking for another high of 88 degrees. We have sunny skies now, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch.
There is a suicide problem when it comes to veterans, and there have been a lot of different ideas about what to do, but very interesting discussion here with Dina Ladd, the founder of Modern Health Coalition. And Dina, you've worked with a lot of veterans and first responders. What are they experiencing? What are they telling you about this suicide epidemic they're seeing among their colleagues?
Yeah, it really is a problem. And I will say Missouri, I think we rank 15th in the nation for veteran suicides. 20 veterans take their life every day in this country. So as I work with them and they talk about their experiences being deployed, what they experienced, watching their colleagues get killed, then coming back into society and expecting to be just, put back in like it's a normal life again. But they deal with trauma and the things that they see. And these are people who fight for us and protect us, and they need assistance. Traditional medicines aren't working.
We have the first issue of, do these folks, when they need the help, go to find it? Because I know that's also an issue of asking, first recognizing that you're having an issue and then going to get the help. But once they get the help, as you mentioned, traditional talk therapies or medicines are not working. So what happens then?
Well, unfortunately, that's all that they have right now. I mean, veterans have told me, they go to the VA medical center, and you're right, they do talk therapy, they're put on antidepressants, they turn to alcohol, and it's not working. And I would say with first responders, it's something that's not discussed. They keep it to themselves and work with their director or whoever, but there needs to be some alternative therapies. And that's what we're hoping with the Modern Health Coalition, that we can get legislation passed here in Missouri to do these clinical trials with psilocybin.
So we're talking about psychedelics. There's been a lot of talk over the years of how this can be a good thing in a medical setting with somebody who knows what they're doing. Can you talk a little bit about why it seems to be helping where other things are not?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I've been involved with this issue. I first started my involvement on the federal level, trying to get more appropriations for these trials at VA medical centers. And I kept thinking, we need to do this in Missouri. We need this for our veterans here in Missouri, for our first responders. So you read about it much more than you used to, and I think that's why it's a little bit more accepted. But for the psilocybin, it is done in a very clinical setting with someone who takes you through the journey. You also work with a therapist, but it really helps expand and release the trauma that people deal with. So what we're trying to do, the Modern Health Coalition is supporting the legislation that's going right now through the House and the Senate. We have House Bill 1717 that's sponsored by Representative Richard West. We have Senate Bill 1682 sponsored by Senator Tracy McCreary, who's right here in St. Louis. And so we're trying to get those. We're trying to get $2 million. We're not asking for a lot, but we want to get those trials happening in our state so that at some point we can have the therapies and the medicine in our state for our veterans and first responders.
And I did want to circle back to you saying first responders too, because I think people have heard the story over the years of the issues with veterans, people returning from conflicts around the world, but we don't necessarily mention first responders who are out there seeing some really awful things and then having to go back and just sit and have dinner with their family like nothing happened.
Absolutely. I had the pleasure 2 years ago, I represented quite a few of the police chiefs here in the state, working with them on a piece of legislation that I'm proud to say we got passed, Valentine's Law. And it was interesting to me hearing their stories and talking about what they faced, the negativity against law enforcement, the challenges, dealing with, they don't know, when they pull someone over, what they're going to face. And you're right, then they're supposed to just, return to like things are normal, but the trauma experienced and the challenges that they face, are real. So that's why this legislation, we're not only looking at veterans, but we're looking at first responders. Joe Patterson, who's the executive director of the St. Louis County Police Association, is on the board of the coalition. It's been wonderful working with him, and he feels very strongly about this.
So if this legislation passes, it would essentially fund some trials to see if this works. It's not like it would pass and immediately people would be able to start using this therapy. Are there no like federal trials or anything going on that are applicable?
There are federal trials with a lot of in some of the VA centers, but also there are states. This is becoming more popular in states. New Jersey just passed legislation. New Mexico is implementing their program. I always say, Missouri, we are a very red conservative state, and so is Texas. So we actually looked to Texas when we decided to do this. And 2021, Texas passed their psilocybin clinical trial legislation. Last year, they passed their ibogaine clinical trial legislation, and they're going to be spending $50 million. And ibogaine is another type of psychedelics, really aimed that assists people with addiction issues. So I feel like, by God, if Texas can do this, Missouri can do this, because we want to make sure we have these therapies and medicines for our veterans and first responders.
I'm sure this is probably too simplistic of an analogy, but when we're talking about why psilocybin might work, people are self-medicating with drugs or alcohol to like numb it, or antidepressants really numb it, but maybe the psychedelic can sort of just help detach that from your brain and you deal with it and it's done.
Yeah, so they say that the psychedelics, the psilocybin, it's a neuroplasticity. It opens up your brain. It helps you think about it, helps you face your trauma, release your trauma. But there is a step, there's a procedure in this. It starts with therapy, then it goes into the actual procedure, and then to follow up with therapy. But, when people go through rehab for alcohol or such, it doesn't work usually the first time. They go back numerous times, 3, 4, 5 times, and it's expensive. And so with the psychedelic therapy, a lot of people have it, they do it once and, their trauma is gone. It helps them move forward in life. So there is a cost factor in all of this too.
That is Dina Ladd, founder of Modern Health Coalition, joining us here on Total Information AM.
And up next, Debbie continues this conversation with former Top Gun Trey Warren, who flew 192 combat missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Navy veteran also attempted suicide 3 times. He's pushing for alternative treatments for PTSD and traumatic brain injuries. It's 8:48.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
In the last segment of Total Information AM, we heard from Dina Ladd with Modern Health Coalition discussing proposed legislation to address the high suicide rate of veterans and first responders, looking at funding studies on alternate treatments and therapies, namely psilocybin or psychedelics. Joining me now is Trey Warren, a veteran of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Thanks for being with us, Trey.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Debbie.
Looking at your resume, it is very impressive. A former Top Gun who served 13 years in the Navy and completed 192 combat flight missions during 3 deployments. Thank you, first of all, for your service to our country.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to serve.
Now, how are you involved with this? Can you tell us a little bit about what brings you into this discussion of alternate therapies?
Yeah, so after my combat deployments, and A lot of significant issues I had come from a fourth combat deployment that I did with Special Forces in 06, 07 in Iraq. And out of all that, I was diagnosed with severe post-traumatic stress and treatment-resistant anxiety and depression and alcohol use disorder by the VA. And in 2002, on my second deployment, I'd had a TBI. What I now learned was that, a lot of my carrier takeoff and landings that I had 460 of them. And the pulling G's, going through Top Gun and firing the gun that we carried on the plane. I had a lot of, those are a lot of hundreds of concussive episodes that we're just starting to learn now creates issues in the brain at the cellular level. I started going through treatment at the VA, I started taking, doing the pill route, going to therapy at the VA, and it just wasn't working. And the first time I was suicidal was while I was undergoing all this treatment. And so once I got through that period of suicidality, I decided, hey, this isn't working. I need to get off of this. And so I ended up switching to a different therapist outside of the VA. This therapist and I, in August of 2022, started talking about psychedelics as a possibility. And this was during my second period of suicidality. When I came off of all the medications I was on, none of this has been scientifically tested or proven, but, I came off of all the medications within about 4 to 6 weeks. And I ended up having terrible brain zaps, where it felt like, somebody was hooking a 240-volt cable up to my head just constantly, and my skin felt like it was on fire. And that was the second period where I was suicidal. Literally, my last, straw here, and my therapist was like, hey, have you ever considered psychedelics? So, started looking into it, and that's how I got into venturing into this route of alternative therapies and plant medicines for treatment for post-traumatic stress and anxiety and depression.
So 3 suicide attempts?
Never got to that point, got right up to it. But pretty much a lot of us veterans now, I've lost friends to suicide. Having been there and having been, on that cliff, looking down, staring at the abyss, thinking about it, it really is gut-wrenching to to somebody's soul. Now that I'm in a better place, I'm able to manage a lot of this stuff. That's why I decided, hey, I need to do something to help my brothers and sisters. And that's what, that was the impetus behind me kind of sharing my story and trying to advocate for these alternative medicines with the help of the Modern Health Coalition.
What would you say was the big difference once you started this therapy with psychedelics? What was it that helped where other things did not?
The SSRIs I was on, they tend to, you hear a lot of people say, kind of the buzzword is they tend to put a Band-Aid, on the cut. They kind of help mask the symptoms. And so they kind of put you in this, I call it as kind of a zombie state where you kind of don't feel. And so, they're designed to kind of take out the highs and the lows, so you don't end up in a really bad place. With psychedelics, what they do when you do these plant medicine journeys, they're very, very difficult to do, but with the right training, with a therapist, and if you do the right preparation, you actually, go into your soul and you're forced to confront the things that are the underlying issues that are causing all the problems. And so that's where I think the power lies in these, kind of alternative treatments is, they're not a Band-Aid. They force you to look at your issues and they force you to look, deal with them and to process them. Ultimately, I've realized it's a very healthy way to process it, but it's a very difficult experience to go through. Now I'm in a much better place than I was a couple of years ago for having gone through, these kind of treatments.
So was it just one treatment, or would people need to go to repeat treatments or follow-up therapy? How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So the analogy I like to use for this is, I kind of consider the plant medicines to be kind of like dealing with a headache. Some people take aspirin, some people take Tylenol, some people take ibuprofen, some people will take, one of each, depending on the severity of the headache, how frequent they are. That's kind of the same way plant medicines and psychedelics work. I've done ayahuasca, I've done psilocybin, working on my post-traumatic stress and my anxiety and depression. I've also done ibogaine to work on my brain injuries. We're learning that, about these multiple concussive episodes are, causing brain damage. And so ibogaine has a lot of anecdotal promise for healing neurological issues. And so that's one of the reasons why I am advocating in the state of Missouri for Missouri to look at both psilocybin and ibogaine research.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier the G-force caused TBIs, and that's traumatic brain injury for people who might have been wondering what that is. Do you have any concerns that it may not be long lasting, or do you feel like you've tackled this issue?
For everybody, this is kind of person dependent. Personally, myself, I don't have the answer to that question. And so, I am looking at continuing these treatments because I don't want to end up back in that place where I was, because it's a really bad place to be in. And so that's why I'm asking for our, great scientific community to research this. We need to understand, exactly what is the efficacy, the duration of this, how long does it last, what's the lasting effects. And that also, tends to be person dependent. It depends on the severity of the neurological injuries. It depends on the severity of the post-traumatic stress and anxiety and depression. So that's why I really feel passionate about the fact that our scientific community needs to research this. And that's what I'm asking the Missouri legislature to do, is to approve the funding for that research so that we can learn more about what the efficacy is for these kind of modalities.
Navy veteran Trey Warren is our guest. We're glad that you are feeling better these days. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us here on KMOX.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Lynch.
Nearly 5% of adults regularly talk in their sleep. The Sleep Research Foundation says talking during sleep seems to occur most often during the lighter,